All right. Welcome, everybody, to Chalice and Chains. My name is Sam. Today, we are playing some basic fantasy RPG. Kind of. It's basic fantasy, but I've used a lot of the supplements and alternative rules in it to create basically the simplified version of 3rd edition that I always wanted and never found. And so, I'm hopeful that this is going to be a cool experience. Mostly doing this as a test to see how the system will handle it, and if it is going to be my go-to fantasy system in the future. Although Beyond the Wall is probably going to take first place, but we'll see. And so today we are playing a adventure called Goblin Incursion with 3 fine gentlemen who have, in some capacities, have either been played with me, never on my channel yet, so I'm glad that we're rectifying that. And I will let them introduce themselves now. So, Jason, I'll start with you. If you want to introduce yourself, you can plug your YouTube channel if you so desire, and let me know who you're playing.
I don't really care about YouTube. I do care, though, that you have invited me along with these 2 great gentlemen to play. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. I am Olton Silversmith. I am a 19-year-old thief. However, I am a little too tall and lean to be a second-story man, so I've devoted most of my labors to being a forger. And I have aspirations to one day be the forger. And maybe make Sarah a honest woman. I am tall, dark. I'll let you decide if I'm handsome. And I wear usually a hooded brown cloak that matches well my leather armor. I try to keep the armor and the long sword, for the most part, hidden under a tunic. And I carry a backpack that is half full with a few items. That's me.
All right, Jason, thank you. And Joseph, if you would like to introduce yourself and the character you're playing, that would be great.
Sure. My name is Joe. I am playing Brother Toman tonight. He is a cleric in the Church of Tyr. He is specifically part of the military arm of that church, known as the Arm of Tyr. And he would like to be the head of that order someday, but for now he is assigned to the church located in Highcliff and working his acts of charity as his vows make him, and keeping his eye out for evil so he may smite it as it appears.
Excellent. All right. And O'Neill, if you would like to introduce yourself.
I'm O'Neill Flynn. I am playing Ewan O'Flynn, an ex-soldier turned sellsword, traveling from town to town, looking for any kind of fortune, fame, and pay, and play.
Perfect. All right, thank you. So, the town of Highcliff, where this adventure starts, has recently been attacked by a band of goblins. They came at night, mostly destroyed and looted, but a few townsfolk died or disappeared. When one of the goblins was caught and interrogated, it was revealed that it spoke a word, a name, Big Rock, which was a location that is known kind of in legend and in stories in the town. It was once rumored to be a temple or a fortress, or maybe both, of an ancient creature, an ancient powerful force of some kind, so the legends say. But that, a lot of people don't believe those stories. They may or may not just be legends that mom tells, kids to frighten them from going outside at night. But Big Rock is a location. And the ruins of that ancient temple exist about 2 days' travel to the east, not the west. You don't want to go west. To the east of Highcliff. the goblins have infested the place as of late, and the mayor of the town, Mayor Kerwin, needs some brave souls to go out, investigate, see what's happening, do some advanced scouting so that he has time to mobilize the militia, and if an attack is needed, to attack. And so the story starts with the three of you sitting at your campfire. It is twilight. The sun has just gone down below the horizon. And Olton, you're looking into the flames, right? Just for a moment, the warmth and this the sight and the crackling of the flames is kind of overcoming you and maybe soothing you for just a minute. But as you hear that methodical crackle, it sounds a lot like, and it reminds you of the rain falling on the cobblestones of Highcliff last night, the night that all of this started to happen. And so almost as if you were seeing it, from a camera perspective, it pans into the flames and the smoke, and then it materializes into a dark and stormy night, but dark and raining. The near silent footsteps are, along with the rain on the cobblestones, are the only thing that you can hear, Olton, except maybe your breath and your heartbeat. But your eyes are fixed on a figure ahead of you walking. You know this figure well. This is Sarah. This is the girl that you have maybe fancied in the town. As of late, you haven't yet worked up the nerve to do much more than, have passing conversation with her because you're trying to prove yourself, right? But one of the things that you have done is every night after she comes home from her profession, you make sure that you silently and in the shadows walk her home to make sure no fate befalls her. And you're doing so this night when off in the corner of your eye, you catch some movement. And being on high alert, right, you're looking for something. Are there footpads out here? Is somebody in the town going to attack? You look and you see these small figures dart from one building to another, crouching low. Sarah seems to be completely oblivious of this thing. And then you realize that you're coming into an alley. You're probably only a few blocks away from the residence where she lives. But you kind of look off to your left and you see movement over there as well. And you realize that something is coming into the town and is going to start closing in on your position. So to your left and to your right are these figures. And the last thing you see is a glint of steel in the hands of these figures. And again, Sarah seems oblivious. What are you going to do?
I think I will. Can I cut between them? Or are they going to cut me off from her?
It depends. If you really want to run full speed, absolutely. Yep.
Then I'll run full speed, and I will grab her by the hand and around with my cloak down in the rain, and I'll say, Sarah, come with me quickly. This is Olton.
Yeah. And as you do that, she lets out a shriek, right? Oh, she's absolutely just like startled at this whole thing. And, and then she sees you and she's like, Olton, what is going on? But before you're even able to answer, you see from your right, a group of 3 short humanoids. You may or may not know that they're goblins. I don't know if that's something that you would know, but they are small, carrying these wicked axes and scythes and and little clubs and whatever, and they are chittering in their foul and guttural language, and they are approaching you quickly.
I will tuck her in behind me, and I will draw my sword. And I'll stand my ground. They can't. I can't understand them, so I'm going to assume they can understand me. I don't say anything, but I will just wave the end of this blade under their nose.
Okay. Absolutely. And so for a moment, you see that the kind of the one that was in front, they look almost jittery, like they're kind of stutter stepping, like they're coming at you. They're not quite sure, if they're going to go in or not. They're chittering, and then they start to like split up a little bit, and they start to try to surround you. And then you realize that to your left, another group is coming in. Another 3 of these creatures are coming in, and you realize that if you don't do something quick, you're going to be surrounded. But right now, Sarah could potentially get out of there if she runs, behind you.
Yeah, I will swing her around. I'm assuming I'm still holding her arm. I'll swing her around and I'll push her in the direction of her home, and I'll yell, "Run, Sarah! Run for your home!" And I will actually engage in the one closest to me. I want to make them attend me. Aggro, as it might be well known. I want to aggravate.
Absolutely. And so you do this, and the first goblin comes in, and you see, and you can tell what their tactics are going to be. It seems about 4 of them are going to engage you, and 2 of them, one of them holds back, and one seems to try to get past you to go to Sarah. But go ahead and describe this scene in whatever way you imagine this will happen. There's no dice rolls because this is a prologue, so you can kind of narrate how you want this to happen.
So I will drive my long sword into the face of the oncomers. Out of the corner of my eye, seeing one want to chase, I will pull my dagger from my hip and I will put it in his back, and then I'll spin and challenge the other ones, putting myself between her and them, not waiting for them to come upon me. I will challenge them physically, and then if I have to, I will wade into them, trying to kill as many as I can. If and then of course I will try to move farther down the street, so I'm still within distance of saving her or helping her if I can.
Yep.
So I don't want to be caught flat-footed, so
Yep.
to speak. So I will be working back, fighting off, and if I have to, racing to her aid.
Absolutely. And it happens as you say. They come on you, right? And you kind of stand there and, just whirling and having sure feet in this, in the cobblestone streets that you're so used to trotting, even in the rain. You do almost this dance with your blade, cutting one, cutting the other, slashing this. And Sarah is running for her home, and just as you kind of plunge your blade into the last one and he falls, and there's this, this pile of dead goblins, or dying goblins writhing around you on the ground, you hear a shriek, and you know that it's Sarah, and you go running after her. And just as you kind of get to a distance where you can see her, you see that she is basically backed up against the wall of an alley. There are 2 goblins, same as before, and one larger looking creature, again, foul, big scythe, like blade kind of bared, and just as you're about to kind of go in and try to get Sarah out of there, you see the big one pick her up. She's flailing, she's screaming, and then you look behind you because you hear some footsteps, and you manage to stab with your blade, cutting one of these goblins as it comes in. But then the last thing that you kind of hear is this, and you feel this pain, and then everything goes black. You sort of last feel the cold, wet cobblestones on your cheek.
Reaching for Sarah in my dreams.
Yep. And Ewan, as this is happening, you have heard the horns of alarm going off in the town. They're blowing the call of invasion, right? Something is here. You being, a man of might, a man of arms, maybe a mercenary of sort, looking for, glory and valor, have taken up this call, and you find yourself running through the streets, right? And maybe not running because it's slippery and you might not be as sure-footed on these, wet cobblestones. it is difficult to see, and you may or may not be as familiar with the town as Olton. So, but you have your weapons ahead of you, and you have met every force that has come into this town so far, and proven yourself worthy. You make your way into the center of the town where there is a large sort of circular market square, and you see right at the end, most of the people are running and screaming, and you see a hulking figure, big and brutish, along with a contingent of probably about 6 or 8 goblins. This looks like this may be their leader. And he is saying in a guttural tone, but it is in the common speech that you would understand. Pillage as you will. Take what you will, but we must make sure that we bring some back to the master, as he has requested. And now, round them up and then let us go. And so you see a couple of townsfolk basically either struggling, or some that don't seem to be struggling, being dragged or carried by these goblins. And then as you kind of enter the scene, you make your way there, he sees you, and we go into almost that sort of video game showdown mode where, this is the big sort of, the raider, the leader of this raid, and a few of his companions facing off against you alone. And again, because this is a prologue scene, I'm going to let you kind of narrate how this goes. But I will tell you that he sends, he kind of holds his big sword up, and he just, maybe we will bring you with us as well. A worthy sacrifice for the master. And he holds his sword, he kind of sends it out in like a charge motion, and about 6 goblins start charging at you. And what would you do?
Well, of course, I'm going to draw my sword and hold my shield in front of me. And I'm going to stare at him and I'll be like, worthy? I'm not very worthy, but I could present a challenge.
And as you say that, the goblins come crashing in on you, slashing and trying to do anything they can to get past your shield and whatever armor you might be wearing. But, did we lose you? Oh, there we are. But you are a fighter of renown. And so, go ahead and describe sort of what the scene looks like as you handle these guys and take them out.
Basically, it's a lot of flailing and shields flying, swords flying, cuts and bruises, stabbing motions. Just going to town on this.
Awesome. And then before you realize it, as again this carnage is all around you and you've bested these goblins, the leader steps in with his, again, his wicked curved blade, and, he pulls another shorter blade, blackened metal, just, serrated, looking like if this thing cuts you, it's going to do some damage. And he comes in and he just starts wailing away, right? And you meeting his blow for blow with your sword and your shield, stabbing, you guys trade cuts, and eventually he is able to get the better of you, not by stabbing or slashing you, but by kicking at your leg, knocking you down in the rainy street. And for a moment, it gives him just enough time that, a couple of his reinforcements come in. He puts away his blade. He blows on this horn, calls the retreat. They've got enough treasure and enough sacrifices, from what you've heard, to be done with the night. And so he will start taking off as you are trying to get to your feet. And
yeah.
And then we cut inside the Temple of Tyr. Brother Toman, you are sitting in maybe the library, or a place where you're studying your holy texts. Right. And the leader, brother, or Father Xavier, comes over to you, and he says, "Brother Tolman, you must come with me. I have a secret that I must tell you, one that only you can be trusted with, one that I didn't want to have to burden you with now, but it seems that I must. Please follow me."
And I shall follow.
And he tells you, he brings you into his private study, and he does something that you haven't seen him do before. He goes into a sort of a cabinet that he has and pulls out this fine bottle of wine. Not something that you would necessarily use for, the services to the town, not something that you would have at your regular dinner. This is something very nice. And he pours it into a rather fine goblet, hands you one as well. He takes a drink and he says, "I have seen prophecy. I have been given a vision by our great Lord, and I fear it does not bode well. There is a prophecy that says that long, long ago, at the dawn of man, there was a goblet given to man by the gods that gave them immortality. This goblet was supposedly what allowed the immortals, those that we call elves, to have their immortality. And for 1,000 years, they reigned supreme over this land, undying except in combat. And then this cup was lost. This great chalice of the gods was lost. And when it was lost, a king, Undead, rose and laid waste to the land, attacked the elves, claiming that their immortality was an abomination to him. And for a while, he was able to push them back to the deepest, darkest parts of the forest. He was winning. Finally, they were able to defeat him. The legends don't say how, but they were. And when they defeated him, they sealed him in a tomb, never to have been heard from again. But the cup, the chalice of the gods, has been lost to humanity. The elves still seem to maintain their immortality, but none others have been able to. And he says to you, "I am a member of a secret order known as the Order of the Chalice. We believe that this chalice is still in this land somewhere, hidden in the dark places of the world, and that one day prophecy will lead us to it. It will lead us to our salvation. I cannot go on a quest to find this, as I must attend to the people here. But you have been born for this. This is what you've been training for. Would you take up the quest and join this order, the secret order, to find this chalice and hopefully return peace and prosperity to our lands?"
Well, by Tyr's will, I will join your order and restore this chalice and set things right.
And this look of just pure relief comes over his face, right? And he takes another sip, and then he reaches into another drawer in this chest or whatever that he has, and he pulls out this great holy symbol, and it is a holy symbol of the god, Tyr, I guess, but he's holding the cup of the gods, as they call it, or the chalice of the gods. And this is something you've never seen before. This is an ornate symbol. He does this blessing, and it's basically this medallion on a golden chain, and he says, "Wear this around your neck. If anyone asks, you tell them that this is the high god Tyr, and that this will protect you, and it will protect anyone that that seeks your blessing. But there is another thing. I fear that we will soon be under attack. If the prophecies are true, the undead king will have risen, and he will send his minions forth to restore him to his full power. And if that happens, humanity will fall. Prepare yourself. Be on the lookout. We cannot allow this to happen.
I understand. And I go for my shield and mace.
And at that moment, almost to justify his words, you start hearing the horns of alarm out in the town. And you look out and you start seeing out of the frosted glass of the, temple in the town, you can see fires. Now, they don't seem to be spreading because there's a lot of rain coming down, but you can definitely see some buildings are catching fire. There seems to be screaming and ransacking and pillaging. And so as you run out into the night, chasing down these fiends, these foes that are in the town, sending some to their, eternal death with your mace and bashing some with your shield, you nearly trip over the prone body of a fallen man in the town, and you look down and you realize that you've seen this man before, but you're maybe not sure where he came from. You just know that he's a local, but he's in distress, and you can see that he's definitely got like a big welt on his head, and it looks like he might be bleeding a little bit. And as your order tells you to do, you lean over and you help bind his wounds, and you provide some healing to him. And Olton, you're able to arise, healed with the holy power of the god of Tyr. And it's at this moment that you also see Ewan come kind of slumping back as he's trying to make his way back to the center of town, looking for any survivors, looking for anyone else that he can help. And the three of you are met by Mayor Kerwin, who is out in the street now with a posse of villagers, right? And they're carrying their pitchforks and their cutlery and whatever they might have. The blacksmith has his big maul, and they're out. And it seems the danger has passed at this point. But the mayor calls you in and does his thing. And so your vision now sort of returns. It's a day later, and you all sit by the campfire. So far, you've had an uneventful trip, which has boded well for you so far, because these woods, at least the stories say, are very dangerous. And most of the woodsmen, who cut down the trees for lumber and for fires, they travel just beyond the reaches of your village. They are too scared to go very far. The trappers, who are braver, go just a little further in, and they've all told you the stories of the foul beasts and creatures that inhabit this forest. But so far you've been lucky. The sun is shining through the trees, or it was. Now it's twilight. The mosquitoes have not been too bad, and you haven't run into any of these foul creatures. But remembering this, and remembering that, Olton, especially for you, Sarah was one of these people taken, you know that you'll spend the night here, and that tomorrow about midday you will make it to Big Rock. What will you guys do at this moment, reflecting on all of this?
Upon remembering the flashback in my last image of her being taken by this beast, I would probably shake out of it. I won't probably. I will shake out of it, stand up, and walk to the perimeter of the camp, looking in the direction we are headed. I sigh and turn to my colleagues. Time is of the essence. We must get to Big Rock soon. We must save Sarah.
Brother Olton, or sorry, Brother Tommen, how would you respond hearing Olton clearly in in some kind of emotional distress here?
I'm gonna try and console him and let him know that there's still hope, and that I'll certainly pray to my God for him and help him guide him.
Thank you, Brother Tommen. I'm not a man of faith, but these are the times I think maybe you need more. You need more than just yourself.
Absolutely. And so, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, that one of you guys will have to take at least first watch to make sure that the rest of your party can sleep. But you also know that in the morning you will have to travel on. There is not a clear footpath through the woods, so that the journey will be arduous. But I would say that you'll want to split it up either into 2 or minimum 2 watches, if not 3 watches tonight, to make sure that nothing happens.
I am antsy. I am too restless to sleep. So if you and Brother Tommen, you need rest, take it. I will not rest. I will not rest this night. And I'll pace around that edge closest to Big Rock, kind of back and forth.
Excellent. And do the other 2 of you take him up on his offer to get some much needed sleep?
Yes, I'll take him up on that and offer a second watch if need be.
Excellent.
Yes.
Perfect.
I'll take that sleep.
Okay. And so, all right. Olton, you pace, nervous but alert. You hear sounds. You hear the sounds of the forest. You hear creatures skittering, and you'll hear the howl of wolves, and you hear footsteps. And you can see from time to time the glow of the eyes of these creatures, with the firelight reflecting in them. But nothing gets close to your camp during your watch. It's almost uneasy because you expect danger, because all the stories have said that there will be danger, and yet you pass about 4 hours with nothing.
At one point, I would go over. I would probably pull my hood because it makes me feel a little safer. I would kick the fire, stoke the fire, throw a couple of logs on it, and I think I would light one of my torches and keep it handy with me. Put it in my left hand, keep my long sword free. And again, I'm restless. I don't think I would wake my colleagues for the second watch. I think I'm still too restless and too determined. My anxiety level would be a little high, so I probably would let them sleep.
Okay, excellent.
I am going to let them sleep unless they wake or rouse.
Sure. Okay, fantastic. So, all right, I like it. Do me a favor. So you're getting on to about 6 hours at this point. You've been awake and traveling through fairly arduous or fairly tough terrain. So you're tired. If you will, go ahead and make a fortitude. Actually, you know what? No, make a will saving throw for me. I'm going to give you +2 on the roll, though, because you are damn determined to stay awake.
That is a failure.
Okay. You cannot seem to keep conscious. You just as you feel like you're going to be able to break through, it's just too much, and you pass out.
Maybe if I just sit down here for a second.
Yep. Oh God. All right. That's excellent. And you know how in this game, You roll wandering monsters, and when you roll one of these babies, you get one. Olton, you are... actually, you're not. Brother Tallman, you wake first to the feel of something pulling on your leg. You awaken and you see these two creatures, small humanoid-like creatures, pulling your leg, trying to pull you away from the fire. It's taking two of them to move your bulk, and they're doing it slowly. But the weird thing is that they're moving like it's sluggish and weird movement, nothing like you've seen from normal humanoids before. They don't seem to be making the normal grunts and groans that they would, exerting themselves. They're just pulling you. And you see one of them, once they get you just far enough away, holding your leg, starts to lean down like it's going to bite you. And how are you going to react to that?
I'm certainly going to take my mace and try and smack that jaw away from, trying to bite me. And as I do, I say, by Tears Beard, what is this?
Nice. And actually, what I'm going to have us do is I'm going to have you roll initiative. We're going to use the D6 initiative that Basic Fantasy uses, but you can roll your dexterity bonus if you have it along with it. So, or add it, I should say.
That's a 1 for me.
Okay. Oh boy. I'm sorry. You might have our first death right here. In the other two of you, if you can make will saves for me.
Failure.
Lord. That's what, D6 or D20?
So yeah, D20 and let me see, I've got them. So for the fighter, will save level 3, you need an 11 or higher. Nope, sorry. Fighter, you need a 16 or
Awesome.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that's a 6.
Okay. So you both stay asleep. And unfortunately, Brother Toman, you are going to be subjected to whether this guy can bite you or not. Let's see. He's going to give it a shot.
The old college try.
Exactly. What's your armor class again? 14?
14.
Okay. You are lucky. So he goes to try to bite you, and you manage to yank your leg out from his grip, and you see him kind of face plant into the ground for a minute.
Nice.
The other one sort of looks up, and you just see these dead, cold eyes. There's no life in this eye. These are definitely goblins, but there's something weird about this. And so, yeah, you go ahead. If you want to attack, you can certainly do that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that.
All righty.
Knock everything over on my desk here.
Yeah, no problem.
That would be 17 to hit.
That will hit.
And all right, fantastic. I was hoping so. And they're going to take 3 damage.
Okay. So the one that bit you, you kind of, as he kind of comes up, from his faceplant, you kind of just whack him right across the side of the head with your mace. You feel this squishing of this flesh, that the bone is almost not as thick as it should be. Something about these is just putting you off, and you're starting to put together some of the stuff that you've read in some of the holy texts. You're getting the impression that these might have risen from the dead, that these might not be alive again. The next one, though, you didn't manage to kill him, but he's definitely injured. He's slowed down a little bit as half of his face is caved in. The other one, though, is going to try to attack you. And he definitely fails as he kind of comes at you, tries to, sort of lunge at you to bite you, and you just kind of, shove him aside.
Nice.
Yeah. And so for right now, I'm gonna stick with you with the initiative. So go ahead and tell me what you want to do.
Yes, I'm definitely gonna yell out for my friends to wake up.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna take a swing at the one closest to me.
Okay. Go for it. The other, if Jason and O'Neill, if you guys can make me another will saving throw, but add +4 to your roll this time.
Okay.
To our wake up roll?
Yep.
Okay. That's a failure. I am out.
Yep.
That's a 16.
So you make it then. So you're good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So you managed to wake up at the call of Brother Toman. You see, unfortunately, that Olton is just out cold. And as you're staggering up, Brother Toman, how do you fare with your attack?
I fared very well. I rolled a 22 to hit him.
Oh wow! All right.
And it's going to be 5 damage this time.
All right. So the same one that you hit before.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead and give me the kill shot.
As it tried to bite me again, I easily parried him off with my shield. And as I did that, took the mace with a full backswing, boom, on top of his head, crushing it into his neck.
Brilliant. I love it. The other one, you're pretty sure that this is a zombie now, you know, based on the readings from your text. It does that, and then the whole body just sort of, you know, flumps down, and almost as if the bones now give way now that the brain is destroyed. The other one just looks over to you, and he tries to come at you again, and he is not going to be able to. You put your shield up, and he just, he's kind of trying to push against your shield, tries to bite at it. Yep. Ewan, go ahead and if you want to engage, go ahead and roll initiative for me, just a D6, and you can add your dexterity modifier if you have one.
That would be 3.
Okay, fantastic. So you can actually go ahead and act right now then.
All right. I'm going to jump up and I'm going to draw my short sword.
Yep.
And I'm going to attack the nearest one that I can get to.
Fantastic. Go for it. And in the meantime, Olton, go ahead and make a final will save for me, this time with a +6 to your roll. You
Yes.
made it? All right. So I'll tell you what happens in just a minute. Ewan, how do you fare with your attack?
Oh, I failed.
Okay. So you gotta go to stab at him with the spear, and because he was sort of lunging and because Brother Toman was pushing him back with the shield, he kind of staggers and falls out of the way just enough to avoid your spear. And it's at this point that, Olton, you wake up, but the reason you wake up is because you feel something pulling on your leg. And you look down and you see this goblin trying to pull you away. It can't because it's not strong enough. And at one point you see like it's straining to try to pull you, and its arm starts to actually like disconnect from its body. It's almost like it comes out of socket, and you can see the flesh tearing. This thing is definitely not like anything you've seen before. How are you going to react to this?
He's got a hold of my leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kick my leg up over my head and try to pitch him over my head into the fire.
Okay.
Nice.
I think what I'm going to say in this case is make a strength ability roll for me. If you have any skills that would go for that, but what'd you get?
17. I have no bonus though.
Oh,
no bonus.
but hey, 17 is enough. So you kick him into the fire. Ooh. And I'm going to say that actually you see his body, his clothes, and then his body and whatever hair he had left. He's just lit up with fire. He's immolated. He's fallen down onto the embers, and he can't get up quick enough, and his body is just starting to burn. And the smell is just horrendous. He does not smell like what you would expect, even from a foul goblin. This is just awful.
Yeah, I've smelled burning goblin before. This is not right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
it doesn't smell like bacon.
no. And Brother Tommen, back to you. The final goblin zombie thing is still there, still, having almost inadvertently missed the fighter's attack. What will you do?
I will take another swing at it. And that is 16 to hit.
All right. That definitely hits.
Cool. But that will be 3 damage.
Okay. Okay. This one's actually a little bit tougher, but yes, let's see. You definitely managed to hurt him. Not enough to kill him, though. And so he kind of staggers back. He's going to attempt to attack, and I am going to roll evens. We're going to get Ewan. Odds we get Brother Tommen. 4. So Ewan, as this zombie is sort of spun around, trying desperately to stay on its feet and to get, a bite on somebody, he's now kind of facing your direction, and it shambles towards you. Ooh, holy moly. Roll the 20. Ouch. All right. Yeah. Oh, you're so lucky. He grabs a hold of your shield and kind of, with this strength that you're surprised by, kind of pushes it out of the way and twists his body in and bites down right on your arm. Fortunately, you're strong. You've got a little bit of armor, and it just barely manages to break the flesh. You do take 1 point of damage, though. Yep. I'm not going to use a critical hit on a zombie because I'm only going to do critical failures if they arise in this game. But you were lucky on that one. However, you do get to yeah, you get to react in this case. What would you like to do?
Draw my sword and swing it around in his head.
Perfect.
Try to take it clean off. What are we gonna do? We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Let's see. It's 16.
That hits.
Awesome.
Yep.
Oh, I rolled a 2 for damage.
This one, you seem to slash into it or stab into it with your sword, right? And the sword just plunges in with this sickening sort of, right? And then you pull it out, and this bile just sort of comes out of the wound. You definitely have hurt this thing, but it, unlike a goblin that would probably shriek or run away, this thing just seems to just be relentless, and it's just still standing. Yeah. Olton, you have managed to dispatch the zombie. It's all burnt up in your fire now. And you managed to get to your feet. You do see that there is one more of these creatures left, but how would you like to proceed in this case?
I will, is he engaged or is he disengaged?
No, he's engaged. Yep.
Okay. I would draw my long sword and approach him from behind and attempt to cause damage here.
Yeah, okay, great. Go ahead and make an attack. Take a +2 because you are behind him and he's not aware of you.
Okay, and so +4 total. Fumble. That's a fumble. I rolled a nat 1.
Ooh, all right.
Okay.
Ouch. So...
I am so sorry there, Ewan.
Cue Benny Hill music.
Yeah, exactly.
Dun, dun, dun.
And so as you kind of go, you step in to try to make this attack, and the zombie sort of shifts. anticipating the attack, it just shifts out of the way, and you happen to trip right over its leg. You trip, and you actually crash right into Ewan, and you guys both tumble to the ground. As you know, that was completely unexpected. Neither of you are hurt by this, but it's, you know, you're right at the feet of this goblin. Fortunately,
I look up at Ewan and say, "Be careful, man."
Get out of my way.
You're in my way. Where did you come from?
Damn you, man. First you wake me up, and then you trip me up.
Just get up on your feet, boy.
Yes. Yes.
And Brother Tom, and you see this scene kind of happen, but you realize now that the zombie is focused sort of on them because they've fallen down. They now seem like they are easier prey. And so you have a moment, if you want, that you might be able to press the advantage here. So if you want to attack it, you can go ahead and do that, and I'll give you a +2 to the roll.
All right, we will do that then. Wowzers. Let me do the math on that. 18, 20, 22 again to hit it, and 10 damage.
Alrighty. Yeah, so you missed. No, just kidding. That would be terrible.
Go home.
Yeah. What go ahead and
Go home.
describe how the kill shot looks.
Is the zombie like upright looking down at them?
Yep.
All right. I drop the shield, grab my mace like I would like a baseball bat, come up from behind to the side, and as the goblin zombie is staring down at my friends, I just baby roof that thing right into its face, upward.
Excellent. Yep. And I will warn anyone who might be watching that I will put an 18+ warning on this right now. As that happens, you feel this sickening smack, and you guys would see, unfortunately, Olton, you're going to see the eyes of this thing start to like bulge as they pop out, and then the whole face basically explodes, and you just get covered in this disgusting bile as the head of this thing just...
I just have this vision of the Evil Dead right now.
Yep. This was Negan going to town on Glenn kind of bad. Like if Walking Dead, like, yeah, only, this is a zombie.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll
Give me some
drive my
sugar, baby.
longsword into the ground, and I'll pull myself up with my longsword, leave my longsword in the ground, and kind of run off, trying to get it off. That's all right. That's all right. I'm okay. And I'll pull my hood back up, and I'll go over and pull my longsword and sheath it. What happened here?
I just woke up and these vile creatures were trying to drag me from the fire. I have no idea what they are. I mean, I've read of such things, but I mean, to actually think they exist, this is disturbing.
Are they dead?
Well, according to my books, yes and no. They are dead, but they still walk amongst us and can attack people. Obviously,
are they
They smell
now?
dead.
Yeah, they do. They do that, and they don't taste too good either. I got some on my mouth. They taste worse than they smell. Let me tell you. Nothing will taste well for weeks. I know it.
No.
Will they stay dead, Brother Tommen?
I would think so at this point. Perhaps we should gather them up and put them to fire.
I'll grab a couple and drag them into the fire.
Yeah.
Oh, it reeks.
Yep. Yeah, it
This is
smells horrible.
work.
I'm now concerned that if we stay here, we're gonna have other beasts show up.
No, nothing will get close to a smell like that. That's horrendous. I mean, like it's so bad that you probably have to make some effort not to just retch everywhere.
I'll probably take my my pouch and pour my what little bit of money I have into my backpack and use my over my mouth. I might even tie it off with my hood. Sit with my eyes watering.
Ugh.
Absolutely.
Evil.
Yep. And so there's still about 2 hours until dawn. Is anyone gonna try to go back to sleep?
No.
No.
I can.
Yeah.
I slept
Wake me
pretty
up when
hard.
we're ready.
Yeah.
I will go over at some point to Ewan and tap his take my long sword out and tap his hilt of his short sword and look at him. Ewan, is that the only weapon you have?
Only weapon I'll ever need.
I flip my long sword up, holding the blade, and offer him the hilt of my long sword. I think this would do you better, sir. If you want the long sword, I will take your short sword.
Sure you know how to use that thing?
Well, I know how to use a short sword better than this long sword. I think you would do better with it. I can handle a short sword more like a dagger.
I'm willing to accept your trade.
I like our chances better with you with a long sword.
All right, boy. I accept.
Anything that can help us save Sarah.
And I'm polishing the goblin blood off Lucille right now.
Yeah. And actually, the funny thing is, you realize that it's exceptionally easy to do. In fact, the bile and blood seems to almost be like burning and off of the symbol, as if it's so corrupted that this symbol is like, nope, get out of here, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and as maybe you're like getting prepared to do your morning prayers, Brother Tom, and it strikes you that the conversation that Father Xavier had with you about this order and about the prophecy, you remember now some of the sermons that he gave and some of the actual notes that he had in the margins of his sermons. You realize, he had stuff crossed out, and from time to time you looked at them. And if you will, go ahead and make a religion check for me. Obviously this would be an intelligence test with any skill points that you have.
Yeah, it's a 3.
Okay. So you have there's something kind of tickling in your memory, right? There's something about this that seems familiar, but you just can't quite recall what it is yet. You suspect this is probably not the last we're going to see of the undead. But who knows? And so the rest of the night goes in stark contrast to this event. The stars are out. The moon is full. It's a beautiful night, a crisp summer night. The terrible smell of the fire has basically cleared away any wildlife, and so it's rather quiet. You can still, hear some distant chirping of birds and some of those annoying bugs that always seem to inhabit the forest, but you don't hear the skittering, you don't see the eyes, and you feel a sense of uneasy peace come over you as you feel like, okay, you're probably going to make it till daybreak. And then as Brother Toman, as the light comes up and you bow your head in prayer and you start to do your daily ritual, right? Feeling infused with the power of your God. Olton, you kind of are just looking at the sun coming up as it's a new day, holding hope and promise that maybe you'll be able to find Sarah, or at least gain enough intelligence that you can bring back to the town and they can mobilize the militia and you guys have a good chance of succeeding. You you've managed to clean the last of the grime and muck off of you. But was there anything else that you would want to do or say as this is happening?
I'm taking the pouch off my mouth, pull my hood off, and then suggest to my colleagues, I think the sooner we get on the road, the better. The sooner we're there, the sooner we deal with this, the sooner we get back. And I start kicking dirt onto these, what's left of our fire.
Yep.
I don't know about you gentlemen, but I am in a hurry.
Yeah, so it's best to be done with this business as soon as possible.
That's right. I'm not making any money just standing here.
At some point, I look up at my colleagues. Do any of you have hunting skills, outdoor skills? I am a city man. I am a clerk, for the lack of a better term. I hope one of you knows what you're doing out here.
Look at Ewan.
I might have forgotten to pick up that trait. That skill.
So meta for a minute. Ewan, are you sort of a ranger type fighter, or was that the intention behind?
Yeah, it was kind of the intention. I should have probably picked up survivalism.
What skills did you take?
Sense movement, spot, and knowledge tactics.
Okay. Spot and all right. Okay. I'll tell you what. You, being that you are used to spotting things in the wild, you might be able to use that to your advantage when trying to spot a path. But more likely, the way you would have to do it is you would have to spot wildlife trails and spot anything because the bigger wildlife does travel through here, but they can't just go straight through the brush. So there must be some sort of path that you can go through if you want to try to make some kind of test to see if you can make your way through. I'll say that it's reasonable for you to use that skill.
Okay. Well, we can try to look for any kind of movements, like large groups.
Can we see Big Rock from here?
No, from here you can't. You ascertain if you make it without getting lost, it would be about a half a day's travel. I am going to give you a +2 to the roll because you can see the sun, so you know generally which direction you need to head in. So there's an advantage there as well.
All right. So I need that's a D6.
So nope. So you'll roll a D20. Your target number is 16, but you
16.
You can add your wisdom modifier if you have one. Any points that you have in the spot skill and +2 for the sun.
All right. So far I got a 6.
Okay. All right. So are you guys sort of feasting on rations as you go, just kind of eating breakfast in the saddle, so to speak, even though you don't have horses? Okay. Yeah. And so as you're sort of chewing on the the hardtack or whatever rations that you have,
Tastes like
yeah, you're like, this tastes terrible. It's like it always tastes like that. Brother Tommen and Alton, you start getting the suspicion that Ewan may not know where he's going. You don't get the impression that you're lost because you're still able to sense the sun, but because you have to constantly check the sun, it's slowing your progress a little bit. And you estimate that, I mean, based on your sort of spotty knowledge of where this is, it's probably going to delay you by about 2 to 3 hours. So you're going to start, if you don't do anything, you're going to get there probably about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Are we like literally going through brush?
Yep.
We're bushwhacking?
Yeah, you're bushwhacking, exactly.
Ewan, This doesn't look like a trail. Why am I walking through bushes, for crying out loud? I'm gonna look for a tree, a higher tree.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can find one
And,
with no problem.
I'm gonna scramble over to it and try to climb to the lofty heights of this tree and reconnoiter, hopefully, where we're at.
Okay. So climbing up the tree really is no problem. However, in this forest, I mean, the trees, the canopies are just incredibly dense. Now, you guys are in a part of the forest where it's less so you can still see the sun and you can still see the stars. But to be able to sort of get up above the canopy and possibly see where you are, that's going to take a little bit of effort. So I will need you to make a dexterity roll for me, but I'm going to give you +4 to the roll, unless you have
balance.
Okay.
Balance.
Okay.
Dex
Yep.
+1. So I have my dex and a +1 skill, so +3 to a dex to a.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yep.
So
D20 roll. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, but I was going to give you +4 on the roll anyway. So does that? So added to your +3, does that?
No.
No. Okay.
Oh,
Bummer.
wow. Wow.
16 is a tough number.
It is. Yeah.
Us forgers.
It is a tough number.
So I'm really confident halfway up. And then as I start reaching and the branches get smaller and they teeter, and as I reach out, they give weight. And then as I try to step, they give my weight a little bit. And at this point, I'm beginning to realize I may be too big at 6'3" for this kind of climbing.
Yeah. And as you look up and you just see canopy above you and the sun, you're like, yeah, this might not work.
I can't see anything from up here, and the trees aren't stout enough for me.
You suddenly remember why you got into forgery.
Yeah.
I'll attempt to climb down.
Yeah. You climb down with no problem.
We're just going to have to chase the sun, I suppose.
May I say a little prayer to my God for guidance?
Yeah.
By all means.
Why, if you want to, go ahead and maybe give me what that prayer would sound like.
Dear Tyr, with your majestic beard, please help us
Stop your crying.
find our path so that we may smite those evil squishy things.
Awesome. And I'll say that miraculously at that moment, the sun seems to shine a little bit brighter and seems to illuminate your path just a little bit more. You're not going to get there any faster, but you certainly can. You feel better about this travel, right? And I'll say that you do travel the rest of the way, and you start to see the sun, starting to make its way down towards the horizon. But again, you manage to make it through these woods without being accosted by this the dangerous wildlife that supposedly lives here. And you're starting to wonder if these stories are true. When the canopy and the foliage starts to reside a little bit, and it starts to become more grasslands, and you kind of come out of the trees into much more sparsely, sort of like isolated copses. And above you, you can see the grasslands starting to make their ways into hills. And you know that according to the maps that you've seen in the tavern and in the, in the church and whatever, this is sort of the approximate location of where Big Rock is. And in fact, off in the distance, you can in fact see a hill, and on top of that hill is sort of a ring of rocks and looks like sort of rotted, broken barricades. With a large standing stone in the middle.
And I pat Brother Tommen on the back. Yes, your God. And I take a knee, and I mumble some prayer, and I stand up. Look, Brother Tommen, I may be a believer by the time this is over.
That's the power of prayer, my friend.
Yes. And I'm actually gonna quicken my pace toward these rocks. I now see the target.
Okay. And
almost a jog. Cloak blowing in the wind, hood off.
Yep. All right. That sounds good. You're just gonna go straight at it, reckless abandon?
I'm running. To it.
All right.
Yeah.
How?
I recklessly
I wouldn't
approach,
advise
checking
that.
for traps.
Yeah, check
I
for
am-
traps. Yeah,
I
10-foot
am
pole.
almost as smart as I am good looking,
Okay.
but I'm actually better looking than I am smart.
Oh boy.
So this would be a slow-mo scene, where he's running,
Yeah.
wind in his hair,
Baywatch
It would
music
be
in
a
the background.
perfect
Yeah.
perfect
Yeah.
trailer.
Nice. Yep. And it's
As he gets eaten by wolf.
and the rays of sun are just like illuminating you like weirdly brighter than it should be. Yeah. It's like, and what you guys see Alton making his way there. He's got a dog in this fight, right? He's got a girl in there that he wants to get out. But what are the rest of you gonna do?
Stare at amazement.
Screaming.
Oh, where are you going?
Alton, stop!
I will slow to the call to stop and look back at my friends. What are you waiting on? Come on!
Yeah,
It
we
won't be
catch up
wise to go headlong.
I can't hear ya.
And does anyone have like any knowledge skills related to history?
I have knowledge, but it's really rumors. Town rumor.
Yeah, that would work though. Go ahead and give me a roll, and you can use that skill. Brother Tommen, do you have one as well?
I have religion would probably be the closest thing I'd have.
Okay, actually, in this case, that could work as well. So if you want to give me a roll,
Okay.
yeah.
And that would be 7.
7. All right. I take it by the the exclamations from Jason. No, all right.
Yeah. Alton looks a little bit cross-eyed. Might be drooling a little bit.
Yep.
One of those rolls.
Nice.
Sugar's feeling low right now.
Right?
Nice. So as you start to get closer, you can see movement on the top of the hill. As you get a little closer and a little closer, I mean, you can see there's not a lot of movement up there, but there are definitely some sort of humanoid figures up there, and there seem to be these makeshift like ramparts, like they started to build a wooden almost palisade in a circular formation to link up with the rocks with that big stone in the middle. And you get the impression that this is probably the goblins that that came into the village.
I will slide behind a rock or into bushes, get down low, and I might motion and point in case they haven't seen it, but I won't say anything.
And you guys see him kind of go down and start motioning. What do you do?
Crouch and start looking towards where he is motioning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll poke my head up and squint. I would like to make a head count, if at all possible, from this distance.
Yeah. It's hard to tell. It looks like you can see at least 2 of these figures on the rampart directly ahead of you. You would figure that you might have seen one more kind of down behind them, but off to the side a little bit, you see little smoke trails coming up, and you do see some movement of at least one figure. And as you kind of peer over there, it looks like the wreckage of maybe like a wagon or some sort of implement of transport.
Is it on fire? Is that what
Yes. Well, it was on fire. You get the impression that it might have been on fire, and now it's like just kind of burning out. Yeah.
So I'll duck down, slide down, look at my colleagues.
Yep.
I 4. I think 4, maybe. I don't know. 4 to 5.
And we can only tell that they're a humanoid figure. This is not.
At this distance, it's hard to tell, but you can, I mean, based on the fact that the goblins in town said Big Rock, and this is Big Rock, it's easy to
Pretty sure
assume
they're-
that these are the goblins. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see if they're the zombie goblins or just the regular goblins.
That from this distance, you can't ascertain that.
Okay.
I wonder if you guys could draw them out, get their attention, and run and draw them out, and I can belly crawl over and get into the fort.
Hmm.
If we could just
What do you think, Ewan?
Get them running toward. How far are we? 100 yards?
Yeah, probably at least 100 yards.
Ewan, can you run more than 2 minutes? Are you fit, and Ewan?
Oh, did we lose him?
Oh, did we?
Ewan!
We had to have
No!
lost him.
He's been,
That's not a hard question. So
yeah.
No, I'm fading.
Oh, no!
I'm pulling a Marty McFly.
Yikes.
I'm fading away.
So I believe the question is, do you think you can run for it, make maybe a 2-minute run through this grassland?
Away so I can get in. I'll belly crawl over and signal you, and then you guys yell and run, and see how many follow you.
Okay. I'm willing to go with that plan.
All right.
I might have missed that plan.
That's probably for the best.
I don't know if it's Discord or my service.
That's all right. We just keep plugging, man. That's what we do online. We play through the pain, brother. We play through the pain.
Yep.
Plays it.
Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah.
It's never pretty online. So.
Oh no.
It's 99% prettier on Discord than Hangouts, but even Discord has its. I think they're still in beta actually with their video. But yeah, no worries. I think the plan was that Brother Tommen, foolishly or not, decided that he would act as decoy and run along to try to distract the goblins so that Olton could sneak up into the.
I will stick a dagger in my teeth. I'm going to get my sling out and load it with a bullet and keep it in my fist. And I'm going to drop to the ground and belly crawl through the bushes. I want to get as close to one of these ramps that I can climb up into this thing. Is that right? Or is it a doorway or a cavern door or what?
Yeah, well, so actually, I mean, if you started making your way close to it, you would see that there's a main sort of staircase up to this makeshift rampart, but the rampart isn't complete, so you could theoretically go around and kind of come in the side.
That would block me from the sight of my friends, wouldn't it?
It would.
So I wouldn't want to be. I want to make sure I can see my friends and motion of my friends. So I would not risk getting out of their sight.
That's all right. Front door is the easiest. Well.
Yep. And once I get close enough that I think I could race up those stairs and into the ramp, once they've lured some away, if it works. From that, I'm going to stand up kind of squatting, and I'm going to wave to Brother Tommen to let him know to make a run for it.
Okay.
All right. And so how does that look, Brother Tommen, as you're kind of running along? Because you would have to run up a little ways so you can get closer, right? And then they'll be able to hear you and see you a little bit better. But assuming you do that, then what do you do to make yourself conspicuous?
I, like any man of arms, take my shield, take my mace, and just start pounding. Yep. Oi, goblin!
Okay. Let's see. All right, so These guys actually see you, right? See you standing there pounding your weapon, and they actually seem a little bit. Oh, holy crap! They made their morale roll. Wow, that's funny. Okay, so yeah, by 1.
That's what you want to hear the GM say. That's funny.
That's funny. They
That's funny.
so they stand there and they see you, and they do give chase. At least 2. You see 2 come down off the ramparts and give chase. And Olton and Tom, and you would see that there is another goblin kind of over by the smoldering wreckage of this cart. So far, it is not moved, but it doesn't seem to be necessarily paying attention to what's going on. It's occupied with something in the cart.
How far?
It would probably be about another 20 yards from the main palisade there. But so far the palisade's clear.
Are these goblins coming off the ramp that I was looking to go up?
Yeah, they are. They're coming off the ramp, and they're going to kind of go off to the side to chase Brother Tommen.
And I will wait until they clear that and get a couple of steps well into Tomlin's chase, and then I'm up that ramp. My goal would still be to stay low, almost belly crawling up the ramp as fast as possible.
Yep. Yeah.
Peek over, see what I see.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we'll stick with that scene for just a minute, and then we'll shift. But before we do that, Ewan, what would you be doing? Would you be kind of assisting Brother Tommen, or would you have a different plan of action?
I would be assisting the brother.
Okay.
Because I just feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yep. So the 2 of you will stand ready against these goblins. Okay. Olton, you sort of belly crawl your way up. You feel the rough makeshift palisade sort of on your belly and your chest, and you kind of peek up and over, and you can hear at this point the guttural chittering of these goblins. And there's 2 of them kind of down below you at this point, sort of behind the rock, and there seems to be a path that kind of goes down a little bit, almost like down the other side of the hill. And they seem to be, maybe they're acting as guards. They have they're rumored to have a settlement somewhere around here. Right now, you don't see it. So maybe that is the entrance to their settlement. But their backs are to you right now.
It goes down into the ground?
No, well, so far, you're sort of on the top of a hill. They're looking down the other side of the hill.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of want to get their attention, but I don't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to do a little thief skills, sneak up on them.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah.
Take my chances at least with 1.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. So go ahead and roll it for me.
I have not been rolling well. Here we go. Oh, yes.
You made it? All right.
I made the sneak check.
Yep. No, that's fine. Absolutely. So you managed to. There's one to the sort of the left and one to the right. You can pick one.
And the path is equally divided between them.
Yep.
Okay, I am going to leave the dagger that's in my teeth, and I'm gonna pull my short sword out, and I'm gonna walk up and grab him around the neck as fast as possible and backstab him.
Yeah, go for it, man. So make your roll, and if you get your backstab bonus and all that.
Yep. Oh, with +6. No, 7 total.
Oh man.
Ouch.
I need to get a die out here.
Yeah. You got a cursed die. You need Brother Tommen to bless that one for you.
Yeah.
I've been cursed dice all my life.
Yeah, right. You.
That's right. I've been rolling 3s my whole damn life. I'm gonna try 12. At least my 12. I'm gonna roll higher than 3s and 4s.
Your D20 rolls are all gonna be on a D12 now. Yeah.
Yeah, D12. Take my chances.
Yeah. Nice. That could be hard to roll a 16 on a D12. I'm just saying, but So you try to kind of lock your arm around him and go to stab him, but as you do so, your feet kind of make just enough of a of a noise that he starts to turn around, and then you do manage to get a hold of him, and you go to stab him, but he manages to kind of duck out of the way and spin, and he lets out this, the screech, and he spins around on you, and his companion is now looking at you as well. The companion actually will run down the hill. You presume to try to get reinforcements, but right now you got this one guy on you.
Exactly the plan I had.
There you go.
It is working perfectly.
Excellent. Ewan and Brother Tommen, go ahead and roll initiative for me, if you will. Just a D6 plus your dex.
Ooh, that's a 5.
All right.
Yeah.
And Ewan, how about you? D6 plus your dex.
Boom, boom, boom.
Are you there? We missed that if you said anything.
The 5.
Oh, okay. Great. So you guys actually get to go at the same time then. But we'll say, Tom, and you can act first since you initiated the plan. You see these two goblins charging at you. They will close the distance. You have the advantage here, so you can attack if you wish. Or if you wish to stand in defense, you could do that as well.
No, I'm gonna attack.
Okay. Great. Go for it.
That is 23 to hit.
Oh yeah, that hits. Absolutely.
And that would be 8 damage.
All right. So you kill the first one that rushes at you.
Boom.
Yeah, go ahead and describe that if you would like.
As he is recklessly running towards me, I take my mace, and with an upward thrust, it meets his head as he's running straight into it and
Nice.
just obliterates himself.
Yeah, absolutely. And with all the force that he was coming at you with, you managed to whack him, and it just dead stops, and then bam goes flying backwards. Yeah, with that extra force. Yeah, and he's
Beautiful.
dead. Ewan, you're up next. Seeing this action happen, how will you react as the other goblin is coming at you? Actually, he starts to. You see the other goblin start to skitter as he skid as he sees his friend go flying. And you can tell that his will is broken. He will run, but you do have an opportunity if you want to get him.
You're gonna have to repeat that.
You can tell that the one surviving goblin has lost his will, and he will run, but you do have an opportunity to do something before he runs if you want.
I'm feeling angry and frustrated, so I'm gonna toss my shield right at him.
All right.
I'll pull a Captain America.
Okay, nice. Go ahead then, and in this case, make a dexterity attack for me, so you can use your dex bonus.
All right. That's an 8.
So, as he starts to skitter and skid, stopping in his tracks, he actually falls over on his butt, and just as your shield goes whizzing over his head, right? And then he lets out this screech, and he starts running the other way. Now, before we cut back to Olton, do you guys want to take a 5-minute bio break? Maybe grab some water, stuff like that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, cool. Why don't we do that? We'll take 5 here, and and then we'll reconvene.
Cool.
Perfect.
Not like I haven't been taking bio breaks. Uh, mm, Food.
Yeah. The only thing is, there wasn't much cheese.
Oh, it wasn't?
No.
Oh, it's all right. Thought there was. We didn't really. I didn't think we used a lot for tacos, so I didn't get any more cheese. I'm on a bit of a break at the moment.
All right. Getting closer to the real hard part of the adventure. I'm starting to lose my voice, so I had to go get more water.
Yes, that is a problem for role players, right?
Yep. Especially for GMs, it's an
Absolutely.
occupational hazard.
Yeah. That's it. Thank you. Tried to say that.
Not a problem. All right.
Yeah, what you said.
Yes.
What do you said?
Humana. Voice exercises.
Right.
Sorry, I haven't been a little chatty tonight.
No, that's all right. No worries. Apparently, I may have had my my desktop audio muted for a little while, so good times. So they probably didn't hear you guys for a little while, but ain't too worried about it.
I'm doing a backup recording, so if you want it, I'll give it to you.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I may. I'll see if mine got screwed up or not, and if if it did, then yeah, I'll take that.
I can always just render a sound file and just send you that too, and then you can just use the sound file.
Yeah, either way, we'll figure it out. Cool. But yeah, so far we'll jump back into it in just a minute. But this is interesting because I really am liking the mix of sort of D20 and basic fantasy, at least from a GM perspective.
I thought you were going to say the mix of incompetence and failure.
It's weird, man. I'll tell you, like, I'm not used to seeing characters fail that much, you know?
D20, yeah, old school D&D.
Yeah.
You should have seen me in the past, man. I failed a lot.
Yeah.
D20, the real big difference between modern D20 and old OSR is failures higher.
Yep.
Yeah. And you can't maximize.
Right.
Could it say Pathfinder where you can maximize the numbers?
Yeah.
It makes you more or less think your way out of your screw-ups.
Right. Well, yeah. I like it because it feels so much more normal. You know what I mean? It feels like you're like a regular person because that's what would happen to a regular person, you know?
Right.
Which is cool.
I'm so klutzy. It's so funny.
Yeah. It's like, this is great. I love failure. No. Man.
What people forget is it goes both ways because the goblins fail as much, if not more.
Oh my God. Yeah. I know. I'm like, man, I got to start fudging these dice. Nobody's going to go down. No, just kidding.
I always forget to talk about the fact that it goes both ways.
That's, yeah.
It's a fascinating phenomenon. Yeah.
Oh, show.
I mean, in D&D 5e, you're going to get beat up as much as you're going to beat up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monsters are pretty fat in 5e.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But everybody's got a ton of hit points, so
Yeah.
you know at least you can
Yeah.
you can survive a
Yeah.
little longer.
Oh, and almost any class can max that AC out to like 18, 19 easily. It's,
Yep.
it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, but you know, chances are you're rolling a plus, 5 or 6
That's right.
if you have proficiency plus, your high skill or whatever, or your high ability. So, but yeah. All right. Well, that was fun. Currently, the situation is that there is a goblin now running back towards Olton's position. And Olton is facing off against one angry goblin who his buddy is going for reinforcements. And so, and he almost got his throat slit, but he didn't. And so, Olton, if you want to go ahead and roll initiative, I'm going to roll for mine, and we'll see how this goes here. Okay, so you'll get to go first.
I am going to run back where I came to my buddies.
Okay.
I need to get out of it. I need to bamboos and get back to my buddies as fast as possible. Now that I have totally botched it.
Sure. And you do that, and the goblin starts to pursue you to a point, but then he gets up on the top of the rampart, and you see that that's where he waits, and he pulls a javelin out, but he's just standing there waiting. You get the impression he's waiting for reinforcements. But as you are running, you start seeing another goblin running towards you. How are you going to react to that?
I'm going to, so we're both running. I'm
Yeah.
going to look at him, and then I'm going to turn toward him and scream with my 16 charisma, with my bluff. I'm going to scream a war cry from hell, raising my sword with my, with my dagger in my other hand and my sword above my head. Like I'm going to just totally destroy this thing. And for the most part, if I have to engage him, I will.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and make your battle cry there.
I'm running like hell. Oh, fumble. 1.
Oh man.
You sound like a crackling teenager.
You call
Yeah.
that a war face?
Yeah, in my head, it's badass, but in reality, it's
And
David.
at this, he kind of sees you. He sees his buddy up on the rampart, and he starts thinking, all right, maybe the buddy can throw that javelin. This might just be at the reach there. He definitely passed his morale check. So, yeah, he's going to engage you. He's going to try to, because he's actually, he wants to get back. Oh boy. And he hits you. Fortunately, he's only got a small sword. Oh my god! But when you roll a 6 on the d6, you take 6 damage.
Ooh. Ow.
Yeah,
Christmas.
and
So I scream again.
yeah. Wow, that's
It
brutal.
was just a flesh wound.
Yeah, and seeing you kind of damaged, injured, the goblin is renewed in his spirits, and so he will actually stay to see if he can end the fight and possibly either knock you out, maybe bring another sacrifice to the big boss. But in the meantime, Brother Tommen and you kind of see this happen, right? You're seeing Olton screaming, and he gets shanked by a goblin with a short sword. Are you guys gonna run up and try to engage?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
All right, perfect. So if you want, go ahead and do you guys have the same speed? You probably do.
Yeah. Unless they're heavy weighted, everybody's at 30 feet per.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's got heavyweight. So all right.
No.
So you guys will both run up on this goblin, and if you will, actually, both of you guys make a straight D6 roll for me.
5.
4.
Okay. Brother Toman, you can act first. You get there a split second faster. What would you like to do?
I'll make my best war cry, and I'll actually follow through with it. So, yeah. Does 15 hit?
To attack, yes, it does.
Alrighty. So he will take 7 damage from my
Okay.
mighty mace.
And you smite him with your mighty mace, if you would like to describe that.
So reverse of what happened with the last one, I run up to him, and with my own momentum, I just kind of polo swing his head as I run by him, and hopefully that looked awesome.
Oh, yeah, of course
did.
it looked awesome.
From Alton's point of view, it looked freaking amazing.
Yeah, because this goblin falls right at Alton's feet, almost to the point where I think you'd have to take a step back so his face didn't land on your boots. And yeah, he's dead. Now the goblin up on the ramparts is screaming at this point in his goblin language, and he's sort of standing there, and then you see him like jump down off the rampart wall inside the thing, and he's starting to run down towards this path, Alton, that you would have seen.
I tell my friends, the plan didn't work.
No kidding.
The plan, Bob.
But we were able to kill 3 goblins, so we're partially successful. Meanwhile, I'm literally holding my guts in.
Yeah,
Brother
about that.
Goblin,
Yeah, I'm gonna give you some heals there.
Yeah.
Let me just look something up real quick.
It's more than a spa day.
Okay, yeah, it's instant, so I don't have to like sit there and chant all day long. And you will get back 4 hit points.
Very good. Brother Tomlin, you are fast becoming my best friend. Thank you.
Yes, Alton.
And, I'll fish out some of my 6 silver pieces, and I'll give 5 silver pieces. This is for your donation box. Thank you.
The poor thank you.
The temple and the god must be paid for such service.
Alrighty.
I do not know what to do. My plan was unsuccessful. There is a path up and over that rampart. There's a path through the rocks, and unfortunately, one of the wily little buggers got away from me and ran, I think, to get help.
So there's no one on the ramparts right now. No one on the palisades. It's the front door is kind of cleared, so to speak.
Yep, exactly.
Well, at least we should walk up and take a peek and see what's on the other side of that hill, since we are here to at least gather some information for the mayor.
That sounds good. That's what
All
we're here
right.
for. So we're scouting. Sarah, I don't know if I'll be able to save Sarah, but lead the way.
And so,
lead the way.
Brother Toman, as you get closer and closer and closer, and you walk up the ramparts, you're starting to feel this sense of unease, like something is wrong here. This place feels defiled. The rest of you guys don't feel this, but you certainly are like, this maybe once had been a holy place, but it is no longer a holy place. And you can start to feel this resonance much stronger down the hill. It's bad here, but it's getting stronger down the other side of the hill. Something is definitely wrong here.
Wonderful. I relay this information in a way that I don't want to alarm my friends, but to make them understand that the situation is perhaps more dire than we originally anticipated. There's evil here.
Beyond the goblins, you mean?
Yes, something is just not right with this place.
And I guess we must be quick about it.
What do we see beyond the hill?
Yeah.
So you look down and you see this sort of makeshift path, almost one that would have been made just by lots of boots over time. And it leads down to what looks like a cave. And right now, outside of the cave, you see about 6 goblins standing there, basically looking like they're ready for a fight. They seem to be on guard. But you can see a cave entrance that they would be guarding. And all around the cave, it seems like you're coming down sort of out of the foothills now, so the terrain is starting to even out a little bit. And there are a little bit more woods on this side of the hill. It seems like maybe this was like a clearing in this gigantic forest outside of your village. And so a little ways beyond here are more woods. But this is, sort of that isolated cave. It goes underground as far as you can tell.
Right, and it's pretty, it's fairly wide open. Like, we couldn't use those woods as a cover to get even closer.
You probably could, actually, because there's
okay.
enough. They're patchy sort of copses of trees, but those copses are dense enough that you may be able to sneak in. The problem is that you'll have to kind of go down the hill. You can't go straight down this path because they'll see you for sure if you do that.
Right, right.
And there's a risk that you may slide. The terrain, you just don't know what it's like. So there is a little bit of a risk there. But yeah, you could potentially do that.
Well, I don't like the odds, 6 against 3. So probably we should.
Yeah, let's try to use those woods.
Yes, I suggest an alternate route.
Okay. And so, who's going to take point?
Come on, Squishy.
Ominous question, right?
He's seen his life flash before his eyes. Alton normally would be motivated, but yeah. he's been sobered up a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess Ewan will take the point if no one else would like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Ewan, go ahead and make a spot check for me, if you will.
All right. I'm gonna get a bonus with that.
Yeah, so you should get whatever your skill points were plus your wisdom modifier if you have one.
It'd be 14.
Oh, bummer. All right. So yeah, you're looking around, but knowing that the goblins are sort of off to your left a little bit, it's a little bit distracting. You manage to make it down this hill. You manage to pick your way down. Your companions, you don't slide, you don't fall, and you do manage to get kind of almost into this copse of trees before you hear this. And you look over, and he hasn't seen you yet, but there is this enormous bear that is kind of coming out of some of the trees, looking like it's going to head towards the cave. You guys have a split second to react.
Alton soils himself, guaranteed.
I read it in a book somewhere.
Absolutely soils himself.
I think I should play dead.
Yeah, okay.
You may not have to play dead very long. You may actually be dead.
It's great. I have one behind me pissing his pants. I got one in front of me that just drops inexplicably.
I don't want this to turn into The Revenant.
That movie was painful, man.
Yeah, I just freeze and I literally wet myself.
Okay.
And I might very carefully pull my hood down tight and just stand there, hoping the smell of urine doesn't draw a bear.
Yeah. The stories from back home of all the dangerous creatures in these woods, they talked about the cave bears that existed in these woods, and basically the stories always say that anything that's smaller than them, they will attack if they feel like they can reasonably do so, because they're always hungry. But if it is if the threat is high enough, they may leave it alone.
That might come to my thought processes here with 14 intelligence. My knowledge, rumor skill. Yeah, I might remember that and at least stand next to my buddy close and pull my cape up big and stand over Ewan. he's inside our little. So I might do that. Although I don't know much Brother Tomlin wants to smell urine. I mean, I smell of goblin infused with a smoky aroma of dead goblins.
I was about to say, we've smelled worse things already, so I think we're okay.
I think you've tasted worse things.
Yeah. At least your urine is sterile. Knows what was growing on those goblins.
Is that recycled ale?
Yeah.
And I'll just try to make my cape with my arm and around my buddy like we're one big thing.
Yeah. Same here, and I try to use my shield to make it look even bigger. And
yes.
Okay.
Go away, bear!
So I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what, Dad.
One of you guys.
Then I'm gonna use my bluff skill.
All right, that's fine. Yeah, I was gonna say one of you guys go ahead and do that. And Jason, go ahead and add. I'll give you +2 and then +1 for each of them. So go ahead and add +4 to it.
To a bluff check?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, 17 + 4, 21.
Okay.
Finally, a decent roll.
Nice.
And so you manage to, and you're all kind of like whatever and yelling, and the bear sort of pauses for a minute, and he starts looking at you, and then definitely the smell on you. It wasn't just cooked goblin. This was like undead bile. Like you hadn't really had a chance to completely clean yourself off. The bear is turned off by this for sure, and so it sort of makes its way, kind of backs away, and then makes its way around you, but it's still heading towards the cave.
Okay.
There you go. Okay.
Yep. And so for the moment, this thing passes you by, and you at least you think you're safe. So
Dodge
safe
the
from this
bullet.
bear. Yeah.
And I shake some urine off the tip of my boot. I hope Sarah is okay.
Is the bear gone?
Yes. Yeah. For now, the bear is gone.
Ewan, you can stand up now.
I can.
Yeah.
I can. I don't want it. I don't want it. Don't make me, Daddy.
So I know that sort of the plan here was to kind of sneak your way around. You can certainly do that. However, you do know that the bear was heading towards that same cave, but there are also 6 goblins there. So does that change your plans at all? Or do you want to proceed sort of around, but towards the cave entrance?
I don't know how we can bait the bear.
I was really hoping the goblins and the bear would get into it.
They might. They might.
I want to see if this bear just like walks past him where it says, "Hey, snacks."
Yeah. Oh. I guess we'd want to put ourselves in a position to watch, to see. Maybe.
Yeah.
If not, I get this feeling the mayor is going to get one hell of a lot back.
Yeah.
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 We may have to go back and tell the mayor one hell of a story.
So for now, you're gonna kind of sneak up and watch and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know how we can bait him or make it more palatable to the bear.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let me just take a look here. Oh, wow. 4, 5. These guys are rolling pretty well. Okay. All right. So so here's what happens. You kind of sneak up and you see this thing, and you see the bear. At this point, like seeing these little goblins, it starts charging in, right? And a couple of the goblins literally like let out a scream. 2 of them run back into the cave entrance, right? So there's only 4 left. The bear basically does this big pounce and lands on one of the goblins. It tries to kind of slash at it with its claws, and that goblin manages to kind of like dodge and fend and roll out of the way of that, but then it basically just wraps its arms around the goblin, picks it up, and just bites it, and just starts tearing into this goblin, just eating it, right?
And
yeah.
Bolton kind of pisses himself a second time.
Nice.
I didn't think I had more.
I'm gonna play dead again.
So,
I'm thinking that could have been us.
oh man.
Kind of pees himself again a little bit.
So right now the bear is attacking this one. The 3 other goblins that are still there seem to have kept their morale. They're gonna try to avenge their fallen foe, which seems silly, and but they're gonna do it. And holy crap, 2 of them hit him. They charge in. All right, and then. No, only 2 of them hit. And so, but they're engaged right now with this bear. This bear, and it's super angry. And wow, my D20 is just as bad as yours. Oh, and so the bear kind of half, holding its prey in its jaws, with one, kind of rears up on its hind legs, and it goes and it slashes at these goblins. But it's so tall. Compared to these goblins, the goblins are sort of ducking out of the way as it's, and then it drops its prey and it goes to lunge and bite at one of them. And the goblin manages to jump out of the way, and it like the bear smashes kind of its face right into the, right into the stones all around this thing. And 2 of the goblins manage to jump on its back, and they start stabbing it. It's not dead, but it's starting to get really injured at this point.
Alton almost starts cheering for the goblins. It's like yeah, get up! Oh.
Nice.
Do it.
Almost like,
Yeah, do my dirty work.
And then I'll kill you.
Yeah.
Alton's starting to feel like, okay, all right, we can handle goblins.
Well, and then as you see 2 of the goblins on its back, stabbing into it with their spears and their swords, it kind of rears up and shakes, right? And one of the goblins goes flying and just like smashes into the rock and falls down in a heap. The other one's holding on, and wow, morale rolls I can make. I don't understand. But this one goblin is just holding on. Basically, its short sword is just plunged into the back of this bear, and it's like, and it's desperately trying to attack this thing, and it's still hitting it. But now there seems to be 1 goblin and 1 bear, and this bear is desperately trying to get this last goblin. And it does, and it kills it. So it finally kind of lunges up and then like up against like the sort of rock wall, and then it just slams back against the wall, and you can, the goblin just crunches up against it, and it falls. And then the bear's kind of looking around, nosing around, and it starts. And then. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, and you can't tell why, but all of a sudden it stops, and it like stops eating these things, and it starts to like move on pretty quickly, like it leaves the scene.
Like it's spooked.
Yeah, something.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's tangle with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna poke the bear.
And so the bear leaves, and there are a number of dead. There's 3 dead goblins hanging out here.
I suppose I'll make my way over to the cave entrance to the dead goblins. What kind of weaponry do they have here?
So the goblins basically have short swords. Some of them have javelins, daggers. They're not very well made, spears, but little ones, just kind of makeshift.
Well, I will,
weaponry.
if I can, I'm going to try to retrieve a javelin in working order if I can.
Yes, you can.
Okay. So I'll pick one up, eyeball it.
Yep.
Not real satisfactory, but it's something more than what I have right now.
Yeah.
As far as my sling.
Yep.
Can I hear anything from the cave?
Not much. You kind of can hear faint echoes within the cave, but you get the impression that this may go down fairly deep into the ground.
I might set up my flint and tinder and spark a torch.
Good idea.
Look at my friends and say, "We're here. Do we investigate more, or do we take this back? Do we take this information back to the mayor? Is this? He probably wants to know more. You think?
Yeah, this is not enough information for the mayor to make any sort of decision. So,
Didn't you have somebody you wanted to save?
Yes, but every growing hour, I begin to think, why would they have kept her alive? But yes, I would like to recover Sarah. But
there's also more fish in that
I
sea.
wouldn't ask you to give your lives for Sarah.
But she is an innocent, so.
Yes.
Okay. So with torch, again, I'll let Ewan lead if he wants, but I'll be behind him with torch and javelin in right hand.
Aye.
As that starts to happen, Brother Tommen, you feel this. The best way you could describe it as almost like a surge of dark power. You can't think of anything else to describe it. And you start to hear rustling, and you guys kind of turn around and you see these goblins start moving. I shouldn't even say goblins. These desiccated corpses that used to be goblins start to twitch, start to move, and the ones that can stand up, and one of them just seems to be starting to drag itself with one arm, and it starts moving. And so these things have risen from the dead.
I will slide my javelin between my pack and my back and take out yet another torch and light a second torch, and I'll hand it to Brother Tomlin.
And real quick, out of character, thank God we are not dealing with a zombie bear. Back into the game, though.
I was so hoping they would have killed it. That would have been so much more fun.
Oh, thank God it didn't.
And so I'll accept the torch from Alton, and as I do that, I present my holy symbol and try to turn the undead.
All right. So go ahead and roll your D20 for me. I don't know if if this allows an ability modifier with it or not, but
no, I think it's just a straight D20.
Okay.
It's a 7.
Oh no, that's not gonna do it. I think
it would do it if I was level 20 or something ridiculous.
7. You would have needed to be a level 6.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
see, there you go.
Good. You could have turned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think maybe the surprise and the fear maybe that's seeping in a little bit. This is unexpected, and you've heard of the undead, but you've never experienced them, and so this sudden thing maybe threw you off a little bit. And
right.
you present your holy symbol, but your righteous fury is just not righteous enough. They're coming, but they're very slow because they're torn to bits. So you could probably make it if you want to get into that cave. You could probably make it in there. Chances are good they'll follow you there.
I would use the torch and try to move in and use the torch to kind of keep them at bay. as I pass through, or try to pass through if I can.
Yeah.
Even if that means taking the lead.
They seem unfazed by your torch as you're waving it. You can see them kind of following it, looking like maybe I can get the arm that's attached to that thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. I'll try to keep moving deeper into this cave.
All right.
If I can.
Yeah, I mean, you can go into the cave for sure. You'll be able to walk past, get past them without. But you have a good inclination that they will pursue you.
Now, like we're in the cave, would I be able to use like sense movement? Just to make sure that nothing's lurking else around.
Yeah, for sure. You can, excuse me. You can definitely go into the cave entrance. You can. Do you have a skill, sense movement? You said.
Yes.
Okay, and who's, by the way, is Olton? Are you leading the way, or is
I kind of stepped out with the torch to get past them. So,
okay, absolutely.
Because I'd rather be in the cave, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Than cut off from the cave.
Yep. So that's fine. And so first, Olton, you head in with your cave, with your torch, and it's flickering, and you see you're basically in this rough-hewn cavern. It looks like it was probably natural at one point, and somebody or something had worked it. Not a lot, just enough, right? And you're staring down, probably a good 20, 30 feet. So far still into blackness, but at the edge of your torch range, you don't see any end in sight just yet. That being said, Brother Tom, and I assume you are sort of, the rear guard here.
Yes.
Okay. As you get to the entrance of the cave, you pause for a minute, and you see that these creatures are definitely following you, and you'll know they will pursue down into the cave if you let them, if you don't do anything.
I call back to the other two and tell them perhaps we should take care of this before we proceed any further, because we don't want enemy in front and enemy in back of us.
I totally agree.
Okay. So I'll turn to face him with my draw my short sword and torch in my left hand, short sword in my right, and prepare to engage these creatures.
All right. So do you guys kind of pop back out of the cave entrance a little bit?
Yeah.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Roll initiative, D6 plus your dex.
That's a 2.
3.
7.
Okay. So, Olton, you get to go first. And then the zombies go, because they actually they all rolled 6s.
All right, I'm just going to step right in with the short sword.
Yep.
14.
You hit.
4 points of damage.
You kill it.
Hey, nice.
Yeah. If you feel like it, you can certainly describe what the kill shot looks like, but you don't have to.
Yeah, I would step in, kind of thrusting my torch ahead of me by a split second to maybe buy myself some space, and then cleave down right through the top of his skull, splitting his head in two, and then kick away the body as he falls away.
Okay.
Then stand ready for another one.
All right, perfect. And would you guys all be sort of standing, next to each other?
Yeah, almost like a shield wall formation kind of deal.
Brothers in arms.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that zombie goes down. The next one shambles up, and Brother Tom tries to come at you. Tries to get you. What's your armor class?
14.
He hit you.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he rolled exactly a 14. That's brilliant. All right.
Jeez.
And, oh, wow. Damn. He gets you for 7 points of damage as he basically grabs right onto you and just bites right down onto your shoulder.
beast.
Yeah, you managed to shove him back a little bit, but yeah, you definitely have this wound on your shoulder. And
Okay.
then who's the last one going to come after? Oh, Brother Tommen again?
Uh-oh.
Oh my
Going
god.
for the healer.
Oh, not the healer.
Well, so what I'm doing, there's 3 of you. I'm rolling a d6. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Where I rolled a 4 and 3.
Ugh.
Oh!
Oh, jeez.
Here comes the pain.
Oh man.
The cleric.
Another 7
Did I
points.
get-
Another 7 points of
Did I tell
damage.
you- Did I tell you guys about my
Oh.
second character?
No way. Oh.
No, I'm not down, but I am close.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
So the other one,
Get this man a potion.
yeah, exactly, right? Manages to kind of almost, it's weird because it's like it's all just desiccated, but it's with this strength that you can't even imagine. It kind of like body slams you, knocks you back a little bit, and then bites onto you. So you've now been bitten by these zombies a couple of times. And I'm sorry, Brother Tommen and Ewan, what were your respective initiatives again?
I was a 3.
And mine was 2.
Okay, so Ewan, you go next.
Try to cleave at the with my longsword at the ones that Tomlin.
Go for it.
So,
Sorry, did you what did you get?
18.
Oh yeah, you hit for sure.
All right.
Actually, you know what? You don't even need to roll damage on this one. He's only got 1 hit point, so go ahead and just describe how you kill it.
Nice.
Seeing the attacking undead goblins, the brother, I decided to spin and just cleave down on the nearest goblin, straight down and cleave it in half.
Nice.
Perfect. And it falls. Brother Tommen, finally you get to act here, bleeding from your shoulder and your torso area. This one goblin still right up in your face.
Yeah, well, I got to get him out of my face. Oh yeah, that'd be 20 to hit.
You hit.
And 6 points of damage.
Kill
Ooh,
shot.
Nice.
Buenos.
Paybacks.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. And so finally you take this thing down. These zombies, fortunately, were already torn to shreds by this bear, so they were weakened, but you are definitely hurting. You're bleeding, and you can feel this like, it doesn't feel like you're diseased or anything, but you definitely feel a taint on you from, them biting you. What are you going to do?
I have a vial of holy water. So I'm going to take a little bit of that and try and bless myself and the ground around us, since it's giving me the heebie-jeebies in the belly.
Yeah, absolutely. And mechanically, are you using a spell, or are you just kind of for role-play purposes?
It's role-play purposes.
Yep.
It came in the pack. It doesn't really explain mechanically what you could do with it, so I'm just kind of going off of it's holy water. You bless things with it. So
Yep, for sure. Yeah, I think on the way I always like to play with holy water is you can, I would say you can use it as a grenade against a, like an undead creature, or you can like coat your weapon. So if it's an undead that can only be hurt by certain things, holy water is one of those things.
Right.
I don't know if that's officially the way to do it, but that's how I do it.
Sure. You could always take shots of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
So Father Xavier always had holy wine. But
What's in that holy water, Father?
It makes
Never mind,
you,
boy.
yeah, it
Not that
definitely
holy
makes
water.
you feel better. You don't regain any hit points, but you
Yeah.
you certainly do. Now you
Um,
do have the heal skill, right?
yes, I do.
Yeah.
Um,
Potentially you could try to bind your wounds if you wanted to.
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Ooh, and that's an 18.
Okay. What I'll say then is roll a d4 for me.
Okay.
And what's
That was
go ahead.
3. I rolled 3 on that.
Okay. And what's your wisdom modifier?
0.
Okay, so I'll say that you staunch the bleeding, and you are able to recover 3 hit points. I think mechanically you've bound your wounds, right? You've put poultices and bandages and whatever. You're still hurt, but between the holy water and you kind of tending to your wounds, you have a little bit more stamina. You've gained a little bit, resolve back.
Can I also perform the Cure Light Wounds on myself? That is a spell.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
So yeah, go ahead and do that.
Because I feel like there's more pain down our path.
I mean, maybe.
Oh, that's another 6 I'd get back.
Oh, perfect.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Things are looking better, boys.
Yes, indeed. All right.
So
I hope so.
I stand there watching him splash himself, mumbling, and then.
Is he having a stroke?
Are you okay?
Sheboygan.
Sheboygan.
Sheboygan. Awesome. So you proceed down the tunnel then? I assume?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. These. I think I would try to burn these bodies up though with a torch. Maybe light these bodies on fire.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, what's left of them, yeah, that's fine. And they managed to go up rather easily. And again, that sort of cloying stench just
Well, I'm
as they
used
get
to it
everywhere.
by now.
It'll
Yeah.
keep that cave bear away.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. I've just the idea of these defiled corpses that were already dead make me nervous. So.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Then yeah, I'm ready to go back down the tunnel.
All right, and Olton, are you going first again?
Sure. I'll lead the way.
Okay, so you proceed down the tunnel. You estimate you've gone probably about 50 or 60 feet before you start to feel a little bit of like a breeze on your face, which you kind of associate with, wind rushing from a larger room into a smaller room. And you can start to hear just the faintest little noise. So you feel like you're coming up on a room and there's definitely something in there. As you get closer, you don't see a door. It opens into a dark room ahead of you.
Okay.
How do you want to proceed?
I will stick my torch in first, and then follow my torch into the room. I'm gonna wave the torch about, trying to identify where that noise is coming from.
Absolutely. And you see into this room. You can only see about sort of 30 feet, but it looks like the room probably isn't much more than about 30 by 30. And on the walls, you see they're basically look like cages. And in the cages, 2 of them are closed right now. One of them is open. And outside of this cage is this foul-looking quadrupedal creature. I mean, it almost looks like a dog, but it isn't. And it's being tended by some sort of goblin creature. And it's the goblin creature has this like poker thing, and it's poking it, and it's doing whatever. You've seen similar activities with the animal trainers back in the village, but and in those cages there are 2 other beasts like this. As your torch sort of illuminates the room, both the trainer and this beast look at you, and the beast starts to growl, and you hear the goblin make this command. you know, and then the beast starts making its way towards you. What are you gonna do?
I will thrust my torch out in its face and prepare for combat. And I will yell to Brother Tomlin and Ewan, help! Help! Help!
Oh wow!
Yeah, please.
All right, and what do the rest of you guys do? It sounds like so. Right now, you're basically. This is a small goblin cave, right? So you're the only one that can stand in the entrance. If you back up a little bit, you might be able to stand two abreast, but if you're standing right in the doorway, you're going to be facing this thing alone. Fortunately, it's the only one creature can come at you at a time. But yeah. So
yeah, I might if I have that sense of that, I might sidestep to allow somebody to
Yep.
You know what? I think I would move to meet the creature, leaving the opening so they can follow me in.
Okay.
I would actually try to meet the creature at some point out inside the room so they can get in the room.
Okay. Absolutely. So let's go ahead then and roll initiative. Jason, just you right now.
7.
Okay, perfect. So you beat this thing. So yes, it will come at you, and as it's coming, it will try to lunge at you. But you've got the initiative.
I'm going to take a defensive posture. My goal is to use my sword and my torch to keep it really away from me.
Yep.
So I just want to be defensive on this round.
Okay.
This turn round, yeah.
Yep. And mechanically, remind me, that gives you a +4 to AC, right? But is it a -40 your attack?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think I can attack at all. I think it's just a +4.
Okay.
Right?
All right. I can't remember. I'll look it up.
It's in the combat options. Let me pull it up.
Okay.
I've got it here. I think I do.
I'm pretty sure it's in the book as well.
Oops. There's one that's slightly different in combat options.
Oh, okay, cool. But either way, I'm pretty sure it gives you a +4 to your armor. Well, anyways, it does attempt to bite you, but yeah, you're definitely standing in a defensive posture, and it cannot seem to get you. But
+4 AC.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. So it does that. Now you also notice that that this, trainer or whatever it is, this Beastmaster is going and unlocking the other cages here.
Oh, yay.
Perfect.
Have I been able to get close enough in that they can follow me?
Yeah. You basically went into the room and kind of sidestepped a little bit. So who would have got? Was it Ewan that was kind of taking the middle?
Yeah.
All right. So you see Olton step to the side, and you see this beast like lunge at him, but he manages to dodge out of the way, still holding his torch.
I would step up next to him and prepare my shield and sword.
Okay. Absolutely. Did you want to make it attack or no?
Yes.
Okay. You can do so at this point if you want. You can certainly make an attack on this thing.
Okay. Ugh. That's a 7.
Yeah, because it's lunging at Olton, when you go to stab at it or slash at it with the sword, its movement just naturally kind of moves it out of the way. You feel like you just barely graze it with your sword, but it does not make purchase. Yeah.
Stand still, you foul beast.
And Brother Tommen, what would you do?
Yeah, I'm gonna follow in, and if I have an opportunity, I'll take a swipe at that nasty thing.
Okay. Perfect. Yes, you can certainly do so as well.
Okay. Oof. Yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah, 6 ain't gonna do it.
Nope, 6 ain't gonna do it. But it does occur to you that, not killing this thing may or may not be the worst thing in the world, based on what has happened before. However, we are back to the top of the initiative order, and Olton, you, if you wish to attack at this point, you could. If you wish to stand in defense, you still can.
Oh no. Now that they're in here with me, I will attack. Yep.
Your boys, they're here.
Yep, the boys are here with me now. 17 plus 2, 19, and 3 points of damage.
Yeah, you kill it.
Oh,
yeah,
Nice.
How does our
celebrate
thief?
I drive my short sword as it snaps. Bark snaps at me. I drive my short sword right through its mouth, into its throat, maybe through the back of his skull, and then pull it free.
Awesome.
I like it.
And at this point, the other kennels are opened, but this goblin goes, this beastling thing goes down. You hear a yell from the goblin in there. He seems genuinely upset that you killed his guys, but he's got the two other creatures on a leash, and so far he's holding them. He does not let them go. He looks a little bit scared now that there's 3 of you in the room. Do any of you speak Goblin?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't pick any languages, actually.
Okay.
I didn't think about it.
That's okay. Actually, that kind of works better for the way I sort of conceptualize this. He seems genuinely frightened, but he's trying to put on a brave face because he's got his 2 little beastlings there. You guys would definitely notice this, though. What would you do?
I think I would step aside and with my torch point the way out the exit, and with my tip of my short sword, I would basically coax him to run out the where we came in.
Okay.
Coax him to get out. In other words, you can die or you can leave.
He looks at you and he takes the suggestion to leave, but he's not brave enough to walk past you. And actually what he does is he recedes further into the room, and on the southwest wall, he seems to like go through a door. You can hear this, and then a slam as the door kind of slams behind you. So far you are left alone. As you kind of see in this room, this is basically a kennel, right? There were those 3 cages, and there is this little sort of sleeping mat, and like a chamber pot and a little bit of like rotten food or whatever. It looks like the kennel master probably slept in here with his beasts. There's a lot of sort of garbage and just trinkets and all kinds of weird stuff that goblins, the stories say the goblins have. But you also notice in here that there seems to be what look to be human-made items. He actually has a fork that is pretty nice, made of silver.
I'll pick that fork up and hand it to the cleric.
Okay.
A silver
Interesting.
fork has to be valuable to a cleric and his church.
What kind of thief are you?
Rob from the goblins.
The one that's been touched by God.
They're right. The door opened inward when this thing slunk out. It went through a door that opened toward us. Or
No, it pushed out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think what I would do is these are pretty large cages.
Yeah. I mean, big enough that the cages, no, the way the cages are, they're sort of it's sort of like a prison cell for a dog, so they are connected, into this. Okay. Yeah, into the thing. It's just like a cage door.
Then I think I kind of want to secure that door so they don't come in behind us. But if it opens inward, you guys have any ideas? I mean, is this the only way out? Maybe it's where we want to go.
As far as you know, I mean, unless you want to search the room, there was the way you came in, and you saw him go out this door.
Oh, so that's the only other way
So
out.
there's
As far as you can see, yeah.
Oh, so we
there's
have to
two
go.
entrances.
Right,
Okay.
yeah, the one you came in, which was, the passage, and then he left out of here.
I think
Okay.
I might take time to look for treasure or secret passages though in the room. Take a couple of turns.
As he's doing that, as I'm trying to learn more about the undead, I'd like to do a little experiment and drag the corpse of that creature and lock it in a cage to see how long we have after a creature's felled till it turns.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Jason, I'll call on your role in just a minute, but yeah, Brother Toman, basically you get it into this cage, but the you can't lock it because the kennel master had the key. But basically, as soon as you slam the door, you start to hear this snarl. So they come back to life pretty quick. Yeah.
Can I wedge my fork in there now to keep that door secured? Is that possible?
Yeah. Excuse me. I think you could probably put the the handle end of it in there and snap it off or whatever. Yeah.
All right,
Nice.
cool. I'll do that.
Nice.
Yeah, and so this thing is like lunging up against the thing, trying to get to you just methodically. It's like clang, clang, clang.
Could I also try another thing? Take the torch, put it to the creature, and see if that does any damage to it while it's still alive, if you will.
Oh yeah, I mean it'll damage it for sure. Yeah, it's you could. I mean, if you have a sustained thing, it'll try to back up. But I mean, you could try to reach through the bars and really sustain the damage.
Yeah, just try and set him afire.
Okay.
Because
Trying to play with Fluffy there.
He as you stick your arms through the bar, he attempts to try to bite your arm, and he's not able to. He slams into the door, and you basically just jam the torch right into his face. And
Bad nipples.
You do manage to kill this thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
you just burn it basically. Okay. Yeah.
Brother Tom, if you are done playing with your dog, and that will be the last time I give the church a silver fork.
But we have learned much from that fork.
It's true. It was quick thinking, as a matter of fact. I would hate for Brother Ewan here to be killed by an undead dog.
Yep.
He would just play dead.
It's not
That's
a bear.
what my tactics roll told me to do. Play dead.
Yeah, exactly. So Olton, you're searching for. You don't find any more treasure. The one piece of treasure you found, you gave away. Not a bad move, all things considered. And
No, it's perfect.
yeah, make a. Do you have a search? Did you put any ranks in search or anything like that? Nope. Okay. So go ahead and make a just a straight D20 roll. You add your wisdom modifier if you have it.
Oh, hold on. Oh, the sucker hit the floor and rolled the best one of the night. It is 18.
Yes. All right. You are sort of putting your hands up against the wall, right? Going from the western wall where he left, kind of across that south wall, and as you kind of get to the east wall, right before the bend, you feel like there's a little gap. You can feel some air coming through the wall, and you realize that there's the tiniest little gap, and if you have a tool or whatever, you could pop it in there, and you realize that this is a secret door. That you could shift aside.
Yeah, I have thieves' tools.
Perfect.
But before I pick anything or open it, I want to look to see if I can spot a trap in it.
Yeah.
Get close with my torch and try to see if there's something that looks like it might be trapped.
Yep.
19. Holy cow! All right, I can't roll that when I'm in combat.
Well, yeah.
I wish I would have got that on a spot check earlier.
Yeah.
You don't sense or see any visible traps on this, but one thing you do notice is that this door is about half the size of a normal door, so this is probably only about 3 to 4 feet tall.
Okay. So is it like at my waist then?
Yeah, it is.
Like on the ground? Okay.
Yep.
I will get my tools out and I will attempt to trigger this thing. Gentlemen, I have found what appears to be a false wall over here.
Are we able to open it?
Yeah, you can easily open it.
Oh, I did?
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So I'll push it open or pull it open or slide it, and then I'll stick my torch in and see what it looks like it is.
Yeah, and it's just a passage. It's it's pretty well done. I mean, this looks like this is intended to be a secret passage to another room in this area. But again, you would have to basically crawl through it because it is.
I will.
Small.
Actually, I will hand my torch to Ewan.
right.
And I'm gonna crawl in. So once he takes it, I'm gonna put my dagger in my teeth, get my short sword out, and I'm gonna crawl. And I'll tell him, wait here, gentlemen, just in case. And I'll crawl in.
You crawl in. You realize you're about. You can probably get about 5 to 10, maybe 10, 15 feet down the thing before you can't see anymore. There's just no light in this passage. You could proceed on if you want, or you could call for the light source, but you can't see.
I think I'll. Dang, not being able to see it all does me no good. So I'll come back out and ask for my torch, and then, gentlemen, give me a few minutes. I'll see how far this goes, and I'll come back. Then I'll take the torch out in front of me, and I'll crawl as far as I can.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
reasonably. If it goes on for miles, of course, I'll go back for the guys.
yeah, no, it only goes about 20 feet, down, and you basically come to what looks like a wall. But you can ascertain, okay, if there was a door on one end, this is probably a door as well. And being that you open the other side, you feel like you could open this fairly, easily, doing the same thing that you did before.
Before I do, I will turn to my friends and I'll tell them I've gone about 20 feet, and I have found the other side of this passage. Something tells me it might be a nice surprise on whoever's on the other side.
Yeah, I agree. We should. I'll go with you for sure.
Okay.
Because if like you said, it'll be a surprise for anyone that's on the other end there.
But what I will do is when I get to the end, I kind of hate to open this with a torch. So I think when I get to the end, I will cover my torch and put it out, and then I'll open this this door.
Okay.
And see if I can't hear or see what's in the room.
Yeah. You open this door ever so slowly and you peer out, and surprisingly the room that you were looking into is lighted. There are torches on the wall, and the reason for this, you realize as you look around, this is like a throne room, and you can see in the middle of this room is like a pit recessed into the floor. In that pit there are 4 kobolds and they're fighting. And you can see sitting on like a sort of a throne is this gigantic bugbear. And he's got a couple of goblins on either end, and they're just watching this fight.
Goblin.
Did we just find Goblin Thunderdome?
Kobold UFC. I say back to my friends, we have found what looks like the leader. Am I behind him? Beside him?
So you're kind of off to the side of him a little bit, and you also notice that over in the corner seems to be huddled about 3 or 4 humans with 2 goblins standing guard over them. They seem like they are chained up. They're huddled on the ground, but you reasonably think you could at least get into this room probably with surprise.
Okay, I would attempt to lean out and see closer if Sarah is among these humans.
Yeah, you look, and it definitely looks like someone that you would think is Sarah. I mean, the features look pretty much like her. Yeah.
I would have to stifle a want to call out. And then I'm going to drop down as quietly as I can into this room, leaving space for my friends.
Okay. And so you jump down without the torch. Are you going to like attempt to hide or move along stealthily, or do you want to just kind of stand up against the wall for a moment?
I would want to, if I can get behind this throne, my goal would be to approach from behind the throne, and I would want to use my rope to garrote this bastard.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Ooh.
Put one of my 6'3" legs against the back of the and strangle this son of a gun out.
Awesome. All right. Then
Nice.
first things first, go ahead and make like move silently. I'm going to give you +2 to your roll because he is very distracted by the fighting pit.
Okay, and I have +2 dex.
Yep.
Right. 20 plus 23.
All right.
19 plus 4 is 23.
So you, like a cat, just sneak right up behind this throne, unseen, unheard.
Nice.
Yeah, and then you kind of get your rope ready to garrote him. Go ahead and make your sneak attack.
Come on. +4 plus 2 for melee.
You can do it.
6.
You can do
Plus
it.
6. 15
You can
plus
do
6,
it.
21.
Yes.
What'd you say? 20,
Yeah.
21?
15 plus
Yeah.
6, 21.
You missed. No,
There
just
you go.
kidding. You definitely hit. Go ahead and roll me some damage.
Okay, what would you like me to roll for that, sir?
So I feel like it's going to. You're still going to get to do your sneak attack, but roll a d4. I think for damage.
Yep,
Yeah.
that sounds right.
Yep, and then add your strength modifier if you have one.
Okay. D4. You want me to roll it twice for double damage?
Yeah.
Okay. 3 and 1, so 4 points.
Okay. 2, 3, 4. All right. So you've got your rope around the bugbear's neck. You're pulling him back, and he is, he definitely is like letting out this gurgle. Let me. Okay. So right now, nobody seems to notice what's happening because they're all focused on the fight.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so, Ewan, if you want to jump in here, you certainly can.
Definitely. Well, as Alton is strangling him, I'm going to attempt to stab him.
Nice.
Sweet. So, however, if you want to do that, you can, but you might be seen by other people in the room. So if you want to sneak up, you would have to also make some kind of stealth, unless you don't care about being seen.
Can try to do stealth.
Yeah, why not? Go for it. Again, I'll give you a +2 to the roll because same thing. Everybody's distracted by the fight.
Okay.
And you can add Dex modifier if you have one.
15.
Oh, you just missed. So
Yeah.
as you're walking up, the the sort of like pile of like coins and weapons and everything that is next to the throne that Alton so deftly like maneuvered over, you clang right into clang right,
Awesome.
and kick it, and Alton's like holding on here like what, and the
What are you doing?
Yeah. The two goblin guards standing by the throne. Now we're aware what's happening. And they see this. Now, before we roll any kind of initiative, the first thing I want Brother Toman to do is make me a wisdom saving throw, please.
Oh boy.
Be wise.
wise, my brother.
Is 16 wise enough?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
I believe so.
Dang.
Let me just double check. I think that you've got a good one as a cleric here. Oh yeah, you only need a 9. You feel at first this overwhelming sense of dread, this overwhelming sense of like something really nasty is here. I got to get out of here. And then your faith, you kind of like bolstered by your faith, you know, maybe a silent prayer. You feel like, okay, you can make it, and you go into the room, but you've got this just oppressive feeling on you, like something really bad is trying to mess with you.
Okay.
Yep. And all right. So you're in the room. What they're aware of your companions at this point. You see Alton still valiantly trying to hold this ginormous bugbear back with his rope, strangling him. You see Ewan kind of like that. I would imagine like paused, like just as he kicked the treasure or whatever, and he's like, eh. And now you get into the room. The goblins are aware. What are you gonna do?
I'm going to run and try to protect Alton's flank so he can keep choking out the bugbear.
Okay. Fantastic. All right, everyone roll initiative for me. D6 plus your dex.
3.
4.
8.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, Ewan, you'll get to go first. And what would you like to do? There are currently 2 goblins up here. The kobolds are in the pit, but so far they've just stopped fighting, and they're just looking.
Okay. I'm going to attempt to take out the closest goblin to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. Go ahead and roll your attack.
So...
Kill them goblins.
Aw, jeez. 11.
Yeah, unfortunately,
11,
that
did you get
is that is not enough. You managed to kind of swing at it with the sword, and it actually parries your blow with its short sword. And you see it stagger back a little bit under your weight because you're much bigger than this thing, but you did not hurt it. And now the goblins get to go, and so it is going to, try to take its vengeance upon you, Ewan. And, dropped it. Let's re-roll. And you are lucky. It, again, goes to stab at you with its short sword, but, being how big you are and with as much reach as you have, it does not manage to get past your armor and your reflexes. Whew. The other one is going to attempt to come at Alton. Oh, and it gets him.
Ooh.
Yep. And it sticks you with this little spear that it's got for 4 points of damage.
You hear, but meanwhile, I'll take the spear and I'll tighten up this stranglehold.
And unfortunately,
Sarah, I'm coming for you.
As you try to do that, you feel yourself basically like pressed up against the back of this throne as the bugbear lunges forward and breaks your grip.
Forward.
Yeah, breaks your grip on the thing. Actually, well, if you want, you can make an opposed strength check if you want to.
No, I'll let him go.
Yep.
I mean, if he's fighting, I'll just let the rope go.
Yep.
And I'll draw my short sword.
He is fighting, and absolutely. So he's angry. However, now we get Brother Toman. You're up.
Kill him! Kill him!
Yeah. If that bugbear is free, he's my main concern. So I'm gonna try and engage him, so at least Alton can protect himself against that goblin.
All right, go for it.
And 17 to hit.
It does hit.
Wow, cool. He's going to take 8 damage.
Oh boy! All right.
Woohoo! Wow. Ouch.
So he's pretty significantly hurt at this point. He yells to the kobolds in the pit, and they flee. they start to run. They're like, forget this. And you actually
That dude is messing you up.
Yeah, you see one of the guards that was standing over the humans actually get in the way of the kobolds. 2 of them try to jump the guard, but the guard just kills them both. The other 2 run out of here, and Olton, you're up. There's a goblin next to you, and of course there's the bugbear that just got hurt.
I will. You know what? I'm gonna go up over the throne and dive down onto this bugbear.
Oh, brilliant!
Nice.
Up over and double fist bump this
300 style.
All right,
I mean,
sweet.
If I'm going out, I'm gonna go out with this goblin. Is my
I'll tell you what. I'll give you +1 to your roll for doing that, going up and over the thing.
15, 16, 17, 18.
That hits.
2 points of damage.
Yeah.
2 points of damage. All right. Okay, let's see. Yep. All right.
Make it bleed.
He stands strong, but you have the initiative. What will you do?
Yeah, we're gonna try to get that bugbear.
All right.
All right. See what we can get here. Ooh, a 20.
That hits.
Nice. All right, let's see what we can do. Only 1 point of damage though.
1 point. Perfect. Yep. And so you slash at him. He's got this like big morning star that he basically like tries to parry your blow with, but you do manage to kind of get in underneath it and cut him. But now it's his turn.
Who
Right.
dies first?
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Good point. Right. Let's.
Surrounded by all of us.
Yeah. I'm gonna roll
Waylaying this
2, 4,
bugbear.
6. Let's see. Oh, poor Olton. All right, you're gonna get attacked here. We'll see if he hits, but
I
Oh,
got 15 AC, by the way.
he does not hit. You are fortunate. With all the wounds that he's taken now, Brother Toman, you are going to be the target of the goblin that is there. He does hit,
Okay.
and he sticks you with his spear for 6 points of damage.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's
It's
rough.
always the cleric.
Yeah,
It's always the
our
cleric.
poor cleric is the meat shield in this one.
Yeah.
However, Toman, you are now up. You get to see if you can enact some vengeance upon this creature. Actually, though, before you do, make a will save for me.
Okay. 17.
You manage it. You pass. Again, you feel that overwhelming sense of just terror and dread, but you manage again to fight it off mentally with your faith.
Man, he's a trooper.
Prayers.
Yeah.
Yeah, gonna have to. So, feeling confident that my 2 friends can finish off the bugbear, I'm gonna turn and meet the goblin.
Okay.
Because, ow, why'd you stick me? Alright. I don't think an 11's gonna do it, though.
Nope. Unfortunately,
Ish.
it is not.
Dang.
Yeah.
No.
Olton, what are you gonna do?
Olton's going to keep driving at this bugbear like a crazed lunatic. How dare you swing in my sword, you son of a...
Nice.
13, 14, 15,
A
and 1 point of
15
damage.
just hits. 1 point. What is it with you guys and 1 point of
1
damage?
point.
Come on.
Yep.
You're slowly
Yes,
whittling him
yes.
down.
It's got to give somewhere.
And in fact, at this point, you've bloodied this guy enough that he actually starts to kind of like, and then he says in the common tongue that you guys speak, "Please, no, Grashnak no wish to fight you. Please, don't kill me."
Then I will point my short sword at Sarah and say, "We want our people back."
And he says, I cannot give you them back. The master, he will kill me."
Oh. Well then, you'd rather us kill you?
And he says,
How about we offer you protection? How about we set you up on your throne here? We can help you.
"How can you help me?"
You release these humans, and we will help you stop the master.
Nobody can stop the master. No. You let me give you some advice. You leave. If you kill me, you will just face me again. No matter what you do, no matter where you go, it will not end. Just leave this place. I'll let you take the girl.
All or
Alton will
none.
agree with that, but I don't know how my friends will feel. And I head towards Sarah to help her up.
Who is your master?
He looks away from you. You can see him almost half turn behind him, and then he stops. He realizes what he's doing, and he says, He is one of great, and he can't get the words out. Make a wisdom save for me.
Okay.
13?
13?
You make it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No way. Okay.
Fortunately, your cleric only needs like a 9, I think, on will. You're good at that.
That's pretty good.
As soon as you said that, and his jaws clamped shut, again, you felt it's starting to feel almost like a psychic attack, like something is targeting you, and it is intense.
And I ask him, does his master possess a chalice? A golden chalice?
And he says, I don't know. I've never seen in his sanctuary. I've never been in there. He just gives me commands and I follow them.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty satisfied that that's all we're pretty much going to get out of the bugbear.
He says, "Please, I'll give you the girl. Just go."
Yeah, at this point, I've got her on her feet. I might even have her over my shoulder if she's not able to walk, with a sword out, waving the goblin away from the door to get out of here with my sword. I'm not waiting. I'm headed out.
You're taking off. He's like, "I'm out."
Yeah, if we have free passage, I mean, logically, we should go.
We can tell Mayor. We can tell the mayor.
Right, and
No.
and as far as my little side thing, I feel I have enough information to let Father Xavier know that the chalice is here, that it's what's being corrupted somehow, turning the undead, and this master is probably something we can't tangle with just the three of us, so we'll need the full force of that order of the chalice on this thing.
I'm just wondering how much I'm going to get paid.
Well,
you should have hashed that out before we started.
Yeah. There does seem to be lots of treasure in this particular room.
I'll start filling my pockets up before we leave.
Pay
the
yourself.
fighter's a thief, and the
Pay my-
thief's got his treasure.
He says, and as if you do start to do that, the chieftain will say, "No, that was not part of the deal. No. You take the girl and get out of here."
Piss off.
And oh man, all right, he does not take kindly to that, and he will attempt to attack you.
Piss off.
Oh, holy crap!
Uh,
I rolled a 19.
Oh.
Let's see.
you-
I feel like it was fate. Like, you shouldn't have tried to steal from me. All right, let me see.
Yeah.
And
That look-
12 for 12
That's
coppers
6 points of damage as his morning star.
for a pocket full
Oh.
of coppers.
Yeah.
Oh.
Goblin
And-
coppers at that.
I quickly say to the bugbear, excuse my friend's ignorance. I promise you we will take care of him when we return to our people. There's no more need for violence here.
He seems undeterred by your words. He wants to kill this man.
All right.
Ah.
I tried. Play dead.
No playing dead now.
All right. What we'll do is you and I will give you basically a reaction. You can react to this, and then if you guys wish to press the fight, we will then re-roll initiative.
Sounds like everybody wants to leave. I better just dump my pockets and we all get out.
Oh, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm down the hall, past.
All right. I'll just
I mean-
dump my pockets. I'll just
You're
dump
gonna
my
be fighting.
pockets
You're
and
gonna be
go.
fighting with Thomas, brother Tommen.
Yep.
No,
All right. And so
I need him to heal me.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So you leave. You decide to exit whence you came.
Actually,
Calling
I
to
think
the-
left.
Yep. All right. Perfect.
Yep.
So you leave, and as you do so, the little door shuts behind you. You kind of get the impression that this was probably like a servant's tunnel, and there was another entrance to this room, but that's fine. You kind of get out of the entrance to the cave. The corpse is still burning a little bit, so the bear seems to be safely away from you, and.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, you managed to make your way, back into the woods, back, kind of where you were going to, where you came from in the first place, and I would imagine as night falls, and you make camp the first time, Sarah awakens, and there's a whole Olton moment, you saved me.
Oh, I doubt it. I smell like urine and
Yeah.
and
You
some
smell
kind of-
awful. Oh,
Yeah.
like I've been smoked in goblin shit.
And then
Oh,
that
that
hits
totally
her,
would've
and
told
she's
her
like,
the story.
I think goblin shit would probably smell better.
yeah.
Yeah.
right.
And from there, you proceed back to the village. You return welcomed as heroes. You you have saved at least a captive. Mayor Kerwin, of course, brings you in and tries to get the full story out of you, asking about the others that were taken, but primarily just wants to know, what are we looking at? What is the story here?
They have appears to be a goblin, the bugbear king. He spoke of some master. I did not see a master. That, and there were unfortunately we had to leave others behind. He negotiated that we could take one, and so I chose to save Sarah. And yes, she's a prostitute, but that's not your call, Mayor.
That's besides the point.
Yeah. Well, and to that he would say, No, you did well. You got one of our people back. Her profession is of no concern in that regard. But what are the size of their forces? Would our militia be able to handle them, to drive them off?
I would suggest before you send your militia in that I consult my order. It's more than what it appears there. Once they die, they come back. So whatever number I'm going to tell you, double that because you will have to face him again.
And
There's something going on there beyond your malicious abilities.
he's like, face them again? What are you talking about?
Their corpses come back to life and fight with even more vigor than they did in life.
And for a minute, he just kind of sits back and goes silent, and he's looking intently at you and not sensing any jest or any anything but sincerity. He's shocked, and he's like, this is troubling indeed. Yes, Brother Toman, please talk to your order. See if there's anything you can do. We must deal with this threat, but this is something beyond anything that our militia can handle. Please, talk to Father Xavier. Anything that you can do, you have our full support. And then he would look to Alton and he would say, and thank you for rescuing one of our own. For that, you will be rewarded. And to you, and he would look to you as well and say, and you, strong of arm and sure of courage, you've done well. Because he doesn't know.
We didn't tell him about the bear, did we?
Yeah, nope. The play dead.
What stays in the forest stays in the forest.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We will make sure that your bravery is also well compensated, and should you wish a position here among the militia, well, there is one here for you.
I'll take that under advisement.
Excellent. And with that, as the sun sets and you guys kind of head off to maybe the tavern or wherever to kind of deal with that situation, the camera, so to speak, would pan out and it would zoom back into the church where Brother Toman is letting his order know about what's going on. And Brother Toman, you are brought down into the sub basement of your church. You didn't even know that this existed. And down here are, among other things, several ancient tomes. They look almost as if you, just to touch them, they might fall apart. But Father Xavier says some words and does, a spell of some kind, and he manages to open this book, and he flips through it to a page, and he points, and you see this drawing in an ancient hand of this great sort of king sitting on a throne wreathed in fire with skeleton corpses all around him. They look like soldiers. And it says, it's written in an elven script that you can't read, but he says, from your accounts, this is what you face in that cavern.
Oh, that's comforting.
And then he says to you, he kind of shifts aside this wall, and there is this suit of just resplendent, like, chain armor, a helm, and this this big, like, not Morningstar, what's the, like, a warhammer, and it's got these ornate symbols on it. And he says, this is the weapons and the armor of a champion of our order. You must return and face this king before he comes back to his full strength, and hopefully these will aid you. And he says, and if you have companions that you think can come with you, I'm sure we have items that will help them as well. And he kind of like motions, and there's like these chests of of things. They're not open yet, and there's like weapon racks and all kinds of stuff, and you're like, whoa!
Nice.
And then the camera pans out. Yeah, the victory music plays, and
It's
that
like the end of the Avengers.
is the end of the
Right.
session. Exactly. Yep.
And everybody can't wait for part 2.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Thank you. That
Yeah,
was
thanks. This was
my
good.
shot at basic fantasy.
Nice.
And yeah.
How did you like it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think that this, not having to worry about legendary actions and a billion different attacks options and 100 hit
Not
points
bogged down.
and yeah, just all of that stuff, for me was really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely it.
Not going through like 20 pages of notes to figure out what can I do.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
are you
right.
doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have
and-
fun, O'Neill?
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh yes.
Good.
Now if I just
So Olton is packing his luggage. He's gonna move as far away from this hellhole as he can with the girl on his arm. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. She's like,
Nice.
but Olton, I have a life here. It's the only
You can
life
hold-
I know.
you can hoard
Come
somewhere
on.
else.
Come on, we're out of this place.
Let's head to the big city. Yeah.
I ultimately become a pimp in the big city.
Excellent.
It fits.
No.
And-
I'll
Get you
stay and I'll help my
See some
cleric
pimp
friend.
shoes.
Yep. And so because my first attempt at basic fantasy was going to be with Oath of the Frozen King by Absolute Tabletop, but that didn't work out for scheduling reasons. This was leading up to a different version of that module. So we will have something similar at some point. Hopefully we'll be able to see if we can find out what the master is up to and stop him
heck
boofor
yeah.
his rise to power.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to do that.
We will definitely have a follow-up.
Yeah, definitely. I want to redeem that bear thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Get your man card back.
Yeah,
Awesome.
a little bit. I just got
Yeah.
this fear of bears, man.
Nice. Well, I'm going to stop the stream. So anyone watching, thank you. This, I don't only run Star Wars. I do like fantasy. I think I may have found a good option here, but if we do this again, it may be in basic fantasy. It might be in Beyond the Wall. I haven't decided yet, so we will find out, but there will definitely be a part 2 at some point.
This
So.
is
Fantastic.
badass right
Yes,
here.
indeed.
Yep.
Awesome.